For centuries, the world has been filled with enigmas, phenomena so bizarre that science itself struggles to explain them. From the depths of the oceans to the far reaches of space, there are mysteries that seem to defy the very laws of nature. And despite humanity's greatest minds working tirelessly, these questions remain unanswered. What happened to the ancient civilization whose knowledge seems to have vanished without a trace? How can there be inexplicable, sudden bursts of energy in the sky, seemingly from nowhere? What secrets lie hidden in the vast, uncharted wilderness of the world, far beyond our reach? Some of these mysteries have remained unsolved for so long, their answers now lost in time, while others seem to be playing tricks with our understanding of reality itself. How much of our history do we truly know? And what lies just beyond the veil of our perception? So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the strange, the eerie, and the unknown as we explore the unexplained mysteries that have left scientists baffled for years. The answers may surprise you. Nestled in the heart of the Indian subcontinent, where the gentle ripples of the Koshi River meet the expansive plains of ancient kingdoms, lies the once flourishing Licchavi kingdom. Today, the region is a quiet, seemingly ordinary part of the modern world. Yet beneath the surface, it holds secrets that have puzzled historians for centuries. This kingdom, a center of culture, governance, and spirituality, vanished from the historical records with little more than a whisper. The Licchavi dynasty, a powerful force in South Asia, ruled parts of what is now Nepal, India, and Tibet from as early as the 5th century BC. They were known for their sophisticated political structure and their devotion to Buddhist ideals. Their capital, Vaisali, a city steeped in religious and cultural significance, became one of the most revered locations in ancient India. It was here that the Buddha is said to have delivered some of his most pivotal teachings. Yet, despite its prominence, Vaisali, along with the entire Licchavi kingdom, seems to have disappeared almost without a trace. The first signs of their decline are murky. The Licchavi were succeeded by the Wari Empire around the 3rd century BC, a shift that marks a potential turning point in the kingdom's history. But the reasons for this sudden and dramatic transition are unclear. Some historians suggest the Licchavi simply faded as other powerful empires rose to prominence. Others point to invasions or internal strife. But none of these explanations fully account for the abruptness of the Licchavi's fall, nor do they explain the absence of definitive records detailing their final days. Theories abound, ranging from the plausible to the mysterious. Mainstream scholars argue that the kingdom was gradually absorbed into the Mauryan Empire. Yet this explanation feels too simple given the prominence of the Licchavi and the richness of their culture. How does an entire kingdom, one that once rivaled the greatest powers of its time, simply dissolve into history, leaving behind little more than scattered ruins and cryptic references? One theory posits that the Licchavi kingdom fell victim to an environmental catastrophe. The region around Vaisali was vulnerable to the vagaries of the monsoon, and some suggest that a series of catastrophic floods, or even a prolonged drought, may have forced the kingdom to abandon its capital. These natural disasters would have not only devastated the infrastructure, but also the agricultural base that sustained the Licchavi economy. However, evidence of such an event is scarce, and no definitive traces of widespread destruction have been found in the archaeological record. Another theory, far more speculative, suggests that the Licchavi may have fallen victim to a more mystical fate. Ancient texts hint at the presence of powerful, unseen forces in the region, forces tied to the realm of the gods. Was the Licchavi kingdom, with its deep connection to Buddhism and its spiritual significance, cursed by higher powers? Could the sudden disappearance of the kingdom have been a result of some divine intervention, as ancient texts sometimes imply? Moreover, there are whispers of a secretive pact or alliance that the Licchavi may have forged with distant, now lost civilizations. Could they have vanished due to a political maneuver? One so complex and dangerous that the repercussions erased their existence from the historical record. These ideas, though steeped in intrigue, often veer into the realm of mythology and speculation. Yet the fact remains that no clear explanation has yet surfaced. In the archaeological world, discoveries related to the Licchavi kingdom are few, and those that do exist provide more questions than answers. Remnants of their temples, inscriptions, and artwork can still be found in the region today, though most are in a state of decay. The most famous of these is the vast array of inscriptions that have been uncovered, written in Brahmi script, one of the earliest alphabets in the world. These inscriptions, while providing valuable insight into the culture and governance of the Licchavi, offer no clues as to why their kingdom crumbled so mysteriously. The absence of a definitive explanation for the fall of the Licchavi kingdom has led many to speculate. Some suggest that the Licchavi were victims of a power struggle within their own ranks, betrayed by those closest to them. Others believe that their disappearance was the result of an external force, such as a military conquest, but no clear records of such an event have ever been uncovered. And so, the question lingers. What happened to the Licchavi kingdom? Was it a slow and painful collapse, as some have suggested, or did it vanish in a single catastrophic event? Were the Licchavi simply swept away by the tides of history, or was their fall more deliberate, hidden behind the curtain of forgotten legends and unsolved mysteries? The Licchavi kingdom remains one of history's great enigmas. The more we uncover about their society, the more we are reminded of how little we truly know. Perhaps, buried beneath centuries of dust and forgotten lore, there are still answers waiting to be uncovered. Or perhaps the story of the Licchavi will forever remain a mystery, a fragment of a once great civilization that slipped through the cracks of time. The windswept hills of northern Scotland, where the rugged landscape stretches endlessly beneath a brooding sky, hold the remnants of a mysterious people, the Picts. These ancient inhabitants, whose name comes from the Latin word picti, meaning painted ones, left behind stunning traces of their culture, intricate stone carvings, mysterious symbols, and the ruins of their fortresses. Yet, despite these visible remnants, the story of the Picts remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of history. The Picts thrived in the land now called Scotland long before the Scots arrived. They are believed to have emerged around the 3rd century BC, occupying much of what is now Caledonia. Skilled in warfare, they were known for their fierce resistance against Roman invaders. The Romans, who had no love for the Picts, described them as barbaric and brutal. With their painted bodies and warrior culture, the Picts became feared and revered by those who encountered them. But despite their strength and strategic prowess, something happened. Something caused them to vanish from the historical record. By the 9th century AD, the Picts, who had once commanded respect and terror in equal measure, seemed to have disappeared almost without a trace. They were absorbed into the kingdom of the Scots, but the details of their disappearance remain shrouded in uncertainty. It is not that the Picts disappeared suddenly. No catastrophic event triggered their vanishing, but rather that they faded quietly from history. Over time, their distinct culture, language, and identity dissolved into the emerging Scottish kingdom. Yet the questions remain. Why did they disappear? Were they wiped out by disease, warfare, or cultural assimilation? Or was something more mysterious at play? The historical records offer little in terms of concrete evidence. The Romans were often the ones documenting their encounters with the Picts, and their accounts are filled with descriptions of fierce battles and constant skirmishes along the northern frontier of their empire. Yet, these accounts are limited, often exaggerated, and from the perspective of outsiders. The Picts themselves left behind no written records, making it difficult to understand their motivations, beliefs, or even their language, which remains largely untranslatable. In the absence of these primary sources, much of what we know about the Picts comes from external observations, none of which explain why they simply vanished. Some historians propose that the Picts were gradually absorbed into the growing kingdom of the Scots. As the Scots expanded from their base in the south, they may have integrated the Picts through intermarriage, political alliances, or cultural assimilation. This theory suggests that the Picts did not vanish, but evolved into something else, their distinct identity absorbed into Scotland's history. It's an appealing theory, one that aligns with the historical reality of empires and kingdoms merging. Yet, it doesn't account for the complete erasure of the Pictish language, which faded without a trace in just a few generations. Another possibility is that the Picts were victims of war, wiped out by the forces of the Scots, the Norse, or even the advancing Anglo-Saxons. The historical records show that the Picts were in constant conflict with these groups, and it's not inconceivable that a series of wars led to their decline. Some believe that the Picts, unable to match the growing power of the Scots and Norse, were absorbed or even killed off in these bloody conflicts. Yet, there is little evidence of a decisive battle or campaign that could explain their disappearance. Their fortresses, artwork, and stone carvings all remain, suggesting that the Picts did not simply vanish in a violent upheaval, but rather slowly faded away. More speculative theories venture into the realm of the extraordinary. Could the Picts have been victims of cultural amnesia? Could they have erased their own identity? Perhaps through a religious or mystical event that led them to abandon their ancient ways and adopt the customs of others? Some fringe theories even suggest that the Picts may have had a connection to lost civilizations, or that their disappearance is linked to a mystical force or hidden knowledge. One such theory posits that the Picts, with their strange symbols and apparent reverence for the natural world, may have practiced an ancient form of shamanism, leading them to retreat into seclusion. Could they have abandoned their land voluntarily, leaving behind only fragments of their once great culture? This idea, while lacking solid evidence, speaks to the mysteries the Picts left behind. Their enigmatic symbols carved into stone, the traces of their burial sites, and their extraordinary craftsmanship. Yet no matter how many theories we propose or possibilities we explore, the disappearance of the Picts remains an unsolved enigma. Their legacy endures, still visible in the stones they left behind. But their story is incomplete. What truly happened to the Picts, and why did they fade so quietly from history? Perhaps, hidden beneath the soil of northern Scotland, there are still answers to be uncovered. Or perhaps the mystery of the Picts will remain forever just out of reach, a story half told, a civilization half remembered. What lies buried beneath the windswept hills of their ancient homeland, waiting to speak? Only time may tell. Nestled on the banks of the Mississippi River in what is now southern Illinois, lies one of the most mysterious and enigmatic archaeological sites in North America, Cahokia. Once a thriving metropolis, Cahokia was the heart of the Mississippian culture, a vast urban center that reached its peak around the 11th century AD. Spread across over 6 square miles, it was home to tens of thousands of people, making it one of the largest cities in the world at the time. At its height, Cahokia was a marvel of engineering and organization, with monumental earthen mounds, complex wooden structures, and a sophisticated system of trade and governance. Yet, despite its grandeur, Cahokia collapsed inexplicably around the 14th century, leaving behind only the ruins of its former glory. Today, the remnants of Cahokia rise from the landscape like silent witnesses to a vanished civilization. The most iconic of these is Monk's Mound, the largest earthen structure in North America. Standing nearly 100 feet tall, it once supported a massive temple or ceremonial structure at its summit, a testament to the scale and ambition of Cahokia's builders. Surrounding it are dozens of smaller mounds, once part of a thriving city, now reclaimed by the passage of time. Despite its impressive architecture and strategic location, Cahokia's sudden decline remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of North American history. The city's downfall, occurring long before European settlers arrived in the Americas, has sparked numerous theories, ranging from environmental factors to social upheaval. But no single explanation fully accounts for the complexity of its collapse. Historians and archaeologists have long speculated that environmental change played a significant role in Cahokia's fall. Evidence suggests that the region underwent significant climate shifts during the 13th and 14th centuries. Could a prolonged drought have devastated Cahokia's agricultural base, leading to food shortages, societal strain, and eventual abandonment? Some researchers believe this is a plausible explanation, pointing to the region's reliance on corn and other crops, which would have been highly vulnerable to changing weather patterns. However, the archaeological record doesn't show clear signs of widespread famine, making this theory difficult to fully confirm. Another prominent theory centers on internal conflict and social collapse. As Cahokia grew, it became increasingly stratified, with a powerful elite controlling resources and imposing authority over the surrounding population. Was this growing inequality, combined with political and religious tensions, a contributing factor to the city's sudden decline? There are hints that Cahokia may have suffered from social unrest in its final years, with evidence of violent conflict found in some of the remains. But these signs are not definitive, and the exact nature of any internal strife remains unclear. In addition to these more conventional theories, there are more speculative ideas about what might have caused Cahokia's disappearance. Some researchers have suggested that the people of Cahokia may have experienced a kind of mass cultural transformation. Could a religious or spiritual crisis have led the city's inhabitants to abandon their once thriving metropolis? Cahokia's elite were likely deeply involved in the worship of the sun and other celestial bodies, with ceremonial practices that tied them closely to the rhythms of nature. A shift in religious beliefs or a crisis of faith could have disrupted the societal structures that had supported Cahokia's growth. Even more intriguing are theories that place the collapse of Cahokia within the broader context of widespread societal collapse. Some suggest that Cahokia's decline was part of a larger pattern seen throughout pre-Columbian North America, with other major centers of culture and power also disappearing around the same time. Was Cahokia merely one casualty in a much larger shift in the dynamics of early Native American civilizations? Or could it have been a unique event, driven by factors peculiar to the city itself? One particularly fascinating theory points to the possibility of external pressures contributing to Cahokia's fall. Could the arrival of new groups, such as the Iroquois or other native tribes, have led to conflict or migration that destabilized Cahokia? The city's geographic location made it a key player in regional trade networks, and it's possible that its strategic importance made it a target for outside forces. However, the lack of clear evidence of large-scale invasions or warfare leaves this idea open to interpretation. As the centuries pass, the mystery of Cahokia deepens. Its vast ceremonial mounds and remnants of its once bustling streets continue to spark wonder and speculation. How did such a powerful and sophisticated civilization, one capable of building a city of such scale, simply fade from the historical record? What was it about this place, where tens of thousands of people once gathered, that caused it to collapse so suddenly? Perhaps the answer lies buried beneath the mounds, hidden within the earth that has long since reclaimed this ancient city. Or perhaps the truth of Cahokia's demise lies in the pages of forgotten history, waiting to be uncovered by those who continue to search for answers. The mystery remains, an enduring enigma in the shadow of one of North America's most remarkable civilizations. What truly caused the fall of Cahokia? We may never know for sure. Along the banks of the mighty Indus and Sarasvati rivers once flourished a civilization that rivaled the great cities of the ancient world. The Harappan civilization, as it is now known, thrived in the fertile plains of the Indus-Sarasvati river system, an area that spans parts of modern-day India and Pakistan. At its peak, around 2500 BC, the cities of Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro, and others along the riverbanks were marvels of urban planning and innovation. Wide streets, intricate drainage systems, and well-organized layouts indicate a sophisticated society, one that seemed set for lasting prosperity. But then, something happened, something that remains unexplained to this day. By around 1900 BC, the cities were abandoned. What caused the collapse of one of the earliest known urban centers in human history? The vast and once thriving river system, which provided the lifeblood for the Harappan civilization, now sits in relative silence, its ancient waters no longer sustaining the cities they once nurtured. The Sarasvati River, in particular, is a subject of great intrigue. Ancient texts and archaeological evidence suggest it was once one of the most significant rivers in the Indian subcontinent, flowing in a way that supported a flourishing civilization. Yet today, it is largely dry, with only traces of its former path remaining. Where did the river go, and how did its disappearance affect the people who depended on it? Mainstream explanations suggest a variety of environmental factors may have played a role in the abandonment of these cities. One of the most widely accepted theories involves the changing course of the rivers themselves. Over centuries, the Sarasvati may have dried up, leaving the Harappan cities to struggle with water scarcity. The Indus, too, may have experienced fluctuations in its water levels, which could have disrupted agriculture, the cornerstone of the Harappan economy. If the rivers that once nourished this civilization began to dry or change course, could this have been the catalyst for their downfall? Evidence from sediment cores and the remains of ancient riverbeds points to such changes, but no single event is definitively identified as the cause. Another theory suggests a more gradual shift in climate. Could a prolonged drought or a series of climatic changes have led to the collapse? The Harappans were highly reliant on agriculture, and any disruption in the seasonal flooding of the rivers could have decimated crops, leading to famine and widespread displacement. While there is some evidence of a gradual decline in monsoon rains during this period, the exact role of climate change remains unclear. Did the people of the Indus-Sarasvati region simply move away in search of more fertile land, abandoning their cities out of necessity? Or was there something more at play? As we dig deeper, the answers become less clear. The Harappans did not leave behind written records to explain their sudden departure. Unlike ancient Mesopotamia or Egypt, where rulers and events were chronicled in detail, the Harappans used an undeciphered script, one that, despite many attempts, has never been fully understood. Without written accounts, we are left to rely on material evidence, the remains of cities, homes, and artifacts. What do these artifacts tell us about the end of the civilization? Could the sudden abandonment be a result of internal conflict, or was there another, less tangible cause? The truth, it seems, is hidden beneath the layers of time. Some more speculative theories venture into the realm of mystery. Could the Harappan civilization have been disrupted by a catastrophic event, something so sudden and devastating that it forced the people to abandon their cities without warning? Some suggest a large-scale flood, perhaps a result of tectonic activity that may have overwhelmed the region. Others speculate that the Harappans were affected by invasion or warfare, though no evidence of such conflict has been found in the archaeological record. Could there have been external forces that drove them away, perhaps from neighboring regions? Even more intriguing is the idea that the Harappans may have possessed knowledge or technology far ahead of their time, knowledge that has been lost or obscured in the centuries since their disappearance. Was there something about the people of the Indus-Sarasvati region that made their sudden departure more than just a response to environmental or political factors? Could they have left behind clues, hidden knowledge, that might explain their disappearance and the mysterious end of their civilization? The idea that there may be something more to their departure, something yet to be discovered, lingers in the air. Today, the ruins of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro lie scattered and quiet, their once bustling streets now just a memory. The disappearance of the Harappan civilization remains one of the greatest mysteries of ancient history. What caused this once great society to vanish, leaving behind only traces of its greatness? Was it a shift in the rivers, a change in the climate, or something far more extraordinary? The mystery of the Indus-Sarasvati river system's abandonment continues to beckon, an unsolved puzzle waiting for someone to uncover the hidden truth. Could we one day find the key to this ancient enigma, or will it remain buried beneath the sands of time? Only time will tell. In the dusty expanse of the Egyptian desert, near the Nile's western bank, stands a site that holds one of the greatest mysteries of ancient Egypt, the Step Pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan. Today, the area is largely quiet and unassuming, but beneath the sand and rubble lies a structure that could have been a pivotal part of Egypt's pyramid-building evolution. The site's location, just north of the famous Giza Plateau, suggests that it may have been an important part of the ancient civilization's architectural journey, a step toward the monumental achievements that would later define the Egyptian landscape. But the pyramid, if it was ever completed, has never fully revealed its secrets. Discovered in 1951 by archaeologists, the Step Pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan was initially thought to be the remains of a pyramid built for the pharaoh Kaaba, a relatively obscure ruler from Egypt's third dynasty. It was quickly recognized as an early step pyramid, similar in form to the better-known Step Pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, which is widely regarded as the first pyramid ever built in Egypt. However, Zawyet el-Aryan's pyramid is unlike anything else discovered. Not only is it unfinished, but much of it is still buried beneath the sands, adding to the enigma of its purpose and eventual fate. The pyramid was originally thought to have stood at a height of around 17 meters, making it smaller than the massive structures of Giza, but still impressive in its own right. Unlike the sleek, smooth-sided pyramids that would come to symbolize Egypt's glory, this step pyramid was made of large blocks stacked in a series of steps, giving it a primitive, unfinished appearance. What's most perplexing, however, is that the structure never seems to have been completed. The core of the pyramid, which would have supported the layers of stone, appears to have been left abruptly unfinished. There are signs of an early attempt to construct the pyramid, but it seems to have been abandoned before it could reach the grand scale of the later pyramids. So why was this pyramid left incomplete? The question has confounded Egyptologists for decades. Was it a sudden shift in the priorities of the ruling pharaoh? Or was there something more mysterious at play, something that caused the pyramid's construction to halt before it could reach its intended grandeur? Mainstream explanations suggest that the pyramid may have been abandoned due to a change in royal power or the reign of a new pharaoh. As Egypt's ruling dynasties were often in flux, it's possible that Kaaba's successor decided to stop the pyramid's construction and redirect resources elsewhere. The pharaohs often built grand monuments to assert their divine right to rule, but the abrupt halt of construction might have been the result of political instability or a lack of necessary funds. Another more intriguing theory involves the possibility that the unfinished pyramid was a symbolic structure, meant to represent a kind of transition rather than a completed tomb. Could the pyramid have been designed as an offering to the gods, or a placeholder for a future pharaoh who never arrived? There is some speculation that it was part of a larger, unfinished project meant to be more than just a tomb. If this were the case, then what other parts of the structure might still be hidden beneath the sands? Could there have been a much grander plan for this pyramid? One that was never realized? Yet, even these mainstream theories fail to explain the larger mystery surrounding the Zawyet el-Aryan pyramid, its complete lack of internal chambers and burial structures. Unlike the other step pyramids and tombs in Egypt, this one does not seem to have been designed to hold the remains of a pharaoh. This leads some researchers to question whether the pyramid was ever meant to be a royal tomb at all. Was it abandoned during its construction because it wasn't intended to serve its expected purpose? Some fringe theories have proposed more extraordinary explanations. Could this pyramid be the remnants of a much older structure, built long before the reign of Kaaba? Could it be evidence of an ancient culture or civilization that predates the pharaohs? Egypt's ancient past is full of mystery, and some suggest that the pyramid might be a remnant of a long-lost civilization that existed before recorded history. There have even been suggestions that the pyramid may have had a purpose entirely different from any other pyramid ever built, perhaps even an astronomical or religious one. But as intriguing as these ideas are, no conclusive evidence supports them. The site has been excavated numerous times, yet still, much of it remains hidden beneath the shifting sands, refusing to reveal its secrets. The Step Pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan continues to defy categorization. Its original purpose lost to time, its construction halted without explanation, and its fate sealed in the same mystery that surrounds much of Egypt's ancient past. Is it simply the result of a failed project, or is there something more at work here? What might still lie hidden beneath the layers of time, waiting to be uncovered? As we stand on the edge of this forgotten site, the questions remain unanswered. What is the true story behind the abandoned pyramid of Zawyet el-Aryan? Only time, and perhaps further exploration, will tell. In the heart of the Horn of Africa, the Kingdom of Aksum once stood as one of the most powerful civilizations in antiquity. Nestled in what is now modern-day Ethiopia, Aksum controlled vast territories, extending its influence across the Red Sea and into the Arabian Peninsula. Among its many achievements, Aksum is renowned for its advanced architecture, monumental obelisks, and, perhaps most intriguingly, its unique written script, Ge'ez. This ancient script, still used in Ethiopia today for religious texts, tells a story that is both rich and enigmatic, yet one that has largely faded from the pages of history. The Ge'ez script, with its elegant characters and complex structure, was developed around the 5th century BC and became the cornerstone of Aksumite written culture. It was used in inscriptions, coins, and manuscripts, symbolizing the kingdom's cultural sophistication. Unlike many of its contemporaries, who relied on borrowed scripts or oral traditions, Aksum created a distinctive written system that flourished for centuries. But like the mighty empire itself, the use of Ge'ez began to dwindle. By the time the kingdom fell around the 10th century AD, Ge'ez was no longer the dominant script of the region, its significance quietly slipping away. What happened to this once pivotal system of writing? Why did the Kingdom of Aksum, with all its monumental achievements, abandon its own script? The decline of Aksum, much like its rise, remains shrouded in mystery. Some scholars point to the gradual shift in power that came with the rise of Islam, which spread across the Arabian Peninsula in the 7th century and eventually reached the Horn of Africa. As Islamic empires expanded, trade routes shifted, and new centers of influence emerged. Aksum, once a bustling trade hub linking Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, found itself overshadowed by these new powers. Could the introduction of new languages and scripts, such as Arabic, have contributed to the gradual decline of Ge'ez? Mainstream explanations suggest that the political and economic shifts of the time were responsible for the kingdom's fall and the fading of Ge'ez. As trade routes changed, Aksum's economy, once dependent on its strategic location, began to weaken. The kingdom may have lost its influence over time, with neighboring empires eclipsing its power. The spread of Islam likely brought new administrative systems, and Arabic became the language of commerce, religion, and governance. Could this linguistic shift have caused the people of Aksum to abandon their own script in favor of a more widely spoken one? However, the decline of Ge'ez isn't entirely explained by political shifts alone. In fact, the script didn't completely disappear. It lingered on, preserved in the sacred texts of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, where it remains in use today. Still, the broader abandonment of Ge'ez by the masses raises more questions than answers. Why did a script that was once used to carve monumental inscriptions on obelisks and adorn the coins of kings fall into relative obscurity outside the church? Some historians have suggested that the decline of Ge'ez may have been a deliberate cultural choice. Could the people of Aksum, in the face of shifting religious and cultural tides, consciously moved away from their ancient script to align themselves with the broader cultural and religious shifts brought by Islam? The question of whether the adoption of Arabic was a gradual process of assimilation or a more strategic decision to integrate into the changing world remains an open one. Then there are more speculative theories. Some argue that the decline of Ge'ez was tied to the spiritual or religious upheavals within Aksum itself. Was there a deeper, perhaps more mystical reason for the fall of Ge'ez? Could the shift away from the script have had something to do with the kingdom's internal struggles or a shift in religious practices? Aksum had long been a center for Christianity in the region, and some believe that the rise of Islamic influence brought about a crisis of identity, one that led to the abandonment of certain cultural symbols, like Ge'ez, in favor of those that were more in line with the dominant religious and political forces of the time. One of the most intriguing, though least substantiated theories suggests that the fall of Aksum's written script was a part of a deliberate cultural erasure. Could the Aksumites have purposefully abandoned Ge'ez as part of a larger effort to remove traces of their former greatness? As the kingdom weakened and power shifted, was there a desire to sever ties with the past and start anew? This theory, though lacking concrete evidence, speaks to the idea that civilizations sometimes seek to reinvent themselves by shedding their former identities. And then there's the idea that there's still more to discover. The ancient city of Aksum itself, with its towering obelisks and buried ruins, has yet to be fully excavated. What might be hidden beneath the sands of time, waiting to reveal more about the kingdom's final days? Are there forgotten manuscripts or inscriptions still buried, offering clues about the fate of Ge'ez and the reasons for its abandonment? The fall of the Kingdom of Aksum and the decline of its script remain a tantalizing mystery. Was it the result of political and economic shifts, cultural assimilation, or something more profound and complex? The answers may be lost to time, but the story of Aksum and Ge'ez endures, waiting to be fully understood. What other secrets might still be hidden just beneath the surface of history? Only time and further exploration may hold the key. In the desolate plains of eastern Turkey, near the border with Armenia, lies the hauntingly abandoned city of Ani. Once known as the City of 1001 Churches, Ani was a thriving medieval capital and a jewel of the Armenian kingdom. Today, the ruins of Ani stand silently against a backdrop of rugged mountains, the remnants of grand structures scattered across the barren landscape. The city's impressive walls, still partially intact, seem to stretch endlessly, as though they were once part of a great fortress that no longer serves its purpose. Yet, despite its grandeur and importance, Ani was abandoned. Its fate a mystery that has intrigued historians, archaeologists, and explorers for centuries. Ani's rise to prominence dates back to the 5th century AD, but it truly reached its peak in the 10th and 11th centuries, when it became the capital of the Bagratid Armenian kingdom. The city's location, strategically nestled on a plateau overlooking the Akurian River, made it an important trade hub between east and west. Ani boasted an impressive array of churches, palaces, and defensive structures, some of the most remarkable examples of medieval Armenian architecture. Its most famous structure, the Cathedral of Ani, is a masterpiece of engineering with intricate stone carvings and a stunning dome that still stands as a testament to the city's past splendor. Yet, despite this cultural and architectural brilliance, Ani's glory was not to last. By the 14th century, the city had been abandoned, its once thriving population scattered. What caused such a dramatic fall from grace for a city that had been a thriving cultural and political center? The answers are not clear, and the reasons for Ani's abandonment have long been the subject of speculation. Mainstream explanations often point to a combination of military conflict and natural disasters. Ani was caught in the crossfire of a series of invasions and conquests by various powers in the region. The Seljuk Turks, the Mongols, and the Byzantine Empire all vied for control of the city at different points in history, and it is likely that these constant military threats took a toll on Ani's ability to maintain its prosperity. The Mongol invasions in the 13th century, in particular, are believed to have severely weakened the city. After the fall of the Armenian kingdom, Ani's political significance diminished, and it was no longer able to defend itself effectively. Additionally, some historians believe that Ani's decline may have been hastened by natural disasters, including earthquakes, which were not uncommon in the region. The city lies on a seismically active fault line, and it is possible that a devastating earthquake, or a series of them, caused significant structural damage. The collapse of Ani's magnificent buildings, some of which show signs of seismic damage, may have further undermined the city's ability to recover and thrive. However, these explanations, while plausible, do not fully account for the swift and complete abandonment of the city. The decline of Ani was not gradual. It seemed to happen almost overnight. The buildings were left intact, but the streets, once bustling with life, grew eerily silent. No mass exodus is recorded, no single event that could explain the sudden departure of its people. What then could have driven the inhabitants of Ani to leave their city behind so completely? One of the more speculative theories suggests that Ani's fall was not simply the result of war or natural disaster, but rather internal collapse. Could the city have suffered from a cultural or political crisis? The political instability following the fall of the Bagratid dynasty, coupled with growing discontent among the city's inhabitants, might have led to a sudden loss of confidence in the city's future. This idea suggests that Ani's abandonment was not the result of an external force, but rather a decision made by its people, who may have felt that the city's time had passed. Another theory points to the role of religion in Ani's fate. The city was home to a rich religious life, with numerous churches and monasteries that stood as symbols of the Armenian Church's power. But could the rise of Islam, following the Seljuk and later Mongol conquests, have contributed to the decline of Ani? The religious and cultural shifts in the region may have led to a crisis of identity for the people of Ani, further hastening the city's abandonment. However, there is little direct evidence to support this theory, as Ani's Christian inhabitants did not face forced conversion to Islam in the same way other cities in the region did. Could the decline of Ani have been part of a broader pattern in medieval history, where once great cities fell into obscurity due to a combination of external and internal pressures? Perhaps the city's abandonment was not a single event, but rather the result of multiple factors, each contributing to its eventual decline. Today, Ani remains a silent, enigmatic monument to a lost civilization. Its crumbling walls and empty streets invite contemplation, but also pose a question that continues to elude us. Why was Ani abandoned so suddenly and completely? Was it the result of war, natural disaster, political collapse, or something more mysterious? Could there be more to this story, hidden beneath the layers of time and rubble, waiting to be uncovered? The city of Ani still holds many secrets, secrets that may one day come to light or perhaps remain lost to history forever. Across the rolling hills and vast plains of Europe, from the British Isles to the Iberian Peninsula, the Bell Beaker culture once thrived. Between 2800 and 1800 BC, this civilization left behind an unmistakable imprint: distinctive pottery, ceremonial beakers, intricate metalwork, and evidence of extensive trade networks that spanned the continent. Their bell-shaped ceramic vessels, often decorated with geometric patterns, are a hallmark of their legacy, providing the culture with its name. Yet, despite their influence and relatively advanced social structures, the Bell Beaker culture vanished almost as mysteriously as it appeared. The remnants of the Bell Beaker people are scattered across numerous archaeological sites, with burial mounds and settlements dotting the European landscape. Evidence points to a society that interacted extensively with neighboring cultures, exchanging goods, ideas, and technologies. But what caused the sudden disappearance of such a widespread and influential culture? Why did a civilization that once flourished seem to fade into obscurity? Mainstream theories focus on a combination of environmental, social, and political factors. One widely accepted explanation is that the culture underwent a gradual transformation, blending into surrounding societies rather than disappearing entirely. As new cultural influences emerged, particularly the advancing Indo-Europeans, the Bell Beaker people may have assimilated into these larger populations, losing their distinct identity over time. This theory suggests that the Bell Beaker culture didn't vanish so much as it was absorbed by the changing tides of history. Perhaps their customs, rituals, and language faded as neighboring cultures grew stronger, adapting to new realities. While the Bell Beaker people contributed to the spread of metalworking and agriculture, these innovations did not persist in the same form after their disappearance. However, the idea of peaceful assimilation doesn't fully explain the rapidity and completeness of their vanishing. The shift wasn't gradual, it was abrupt. Archaeological evidence shows a sudden cessation in burial practices associated with the Bell Beaker people and a decline in their distinctive pottery. Could this abrupt end suggest something more catastrophic? Some researchers have proposed that environmental changes may have played a role. The period around the collapse of the Bell Beaker culture saw significant climate shifts, including cooler temperatures and disruptions to agricultural patterns. Could severe weather events, such as droughts or harsh winters, have decimated their food supply? Without a stable food base, societies may have collapsed, leading to migrations or the abandonment of settlements. Yet, evidence of climate change does not fully explain the disappearance. Other contemporary societies, such as the early Celts, adapted to similar environmental pressures. The sudden end of the Bell Beaker culture seems too abrupt to be explained solely by environmental factors. An alternative explanation is internal social collapse. Was there a shift in power, civil conflict, or a breakdown in the social structures that held these communities together? The Bell Beaker culture's intricate trade networks and complex social hierarchies may have created vulnerabilities exposed in times of crisis. Could competition for resources or disrupted trade routes have led to social upheaval, pushing the people to abandon their way of life? Some more speculative theories suggest the Bell Beaker culture may have fallen victim to invasion. Could a foreign group, such as the early Indo-Europeans, have displaced or assimilated the Bell Beaker people? However, evidence of such invasions remains inconclusive, and the Bell Beaker culture's disappearance doesn't coincide with any major upheavals linked to external aggression. Another possibility is that the Bell Beaker people didn't vanish at all, but transformed into something else. Could they have left behind a hidden legacy, contributing to the development of later civilizations? Some researchers suggest their influence spread into other regions, leaving few traces of their original identity. Perhaps their true story lies buried, waiting for future discoveries to unlock its mysteries. The sudden disappearance of the Bell Beaker culture remains one of Europe's great historical puzzles. Was their end caused by environmental factors, social collapse, or external forces? Or was it something more complex, a transformation that left behind only faint traces of a once flourishing people? As the mystery endures, the legacy of the Bell Beaker culture continues to captivate historians and archaeologists. What, if anything, remains hidden beneath the ruins of their settlements? Perhaps the answers lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. High in the arid plains of Bolivia, near the towering Sajama volcano, lies a set of mysterious ancient markings known as the Sajama Lines. These vast geometric patterns, etched into the dry, cracked earth, remain an enigma. From the air, the lines appear as subtle but distinct shapes resembling a network of long paths, some connecting to circular formations, others seemingly leading nowhere. Who created them, and for what purpose? This mystery has puzzled archaeologists, historians, and local indigenous communities for centuries. The Sajama Lines stretch over 10,000 square kilometers in the Bolivian highlands, nearly 4,000 meters above sea level. The lines themselves are made from small stones or earth moved deliberately to create these patterns. Some shapes resemble giant trapezoids, rectangles, and zigzags, while others are parallel lines extending for miles in a seemingly intentional alignment. The scale of these formations suggests they were not created by casual labor, but by a complex and organized effort. But what was their purpose? Mainstream theories offer several explanations. Some suggest that the lines were created by ancient Andean civilizations, possibly as part of agricultural practices or as ritualistic pathways. The region is known for its rich cultural history, including the presence of early Aymara and Quechua civilizations. According to this theory, the lines may have served as ceremonial paths for religious or spiritual rituals, or markers for sacred places tied to the cosmos or natural elements, in line with the Andean people's reverence for the stars and the land. The patterns might also have been used to guide herders or travelers through the challenging terrain of the Altiplano. Another theory links the Sajama Lines to ancient agricultural terraces. Could they have been used to guide crop cultivation in a landscape difficult to farm? Some researchers suggest the lines might have been a form of irrigation or a method of demarcating land for specific uses, perhaps as a blueprint for land division. If this theory holds, the lines may represent an early attempt to organize crop production in an environment where water and fertile soil were scarce. Yet, these theories fail to fully account for the scale and precision of the Sajama Lines. There is no clear record of the people who created them, nor any indication of how such vast, intricate patterns could have been constructed with limited tools and resources in such a remote environment. The question remains, who were these builders, and why did they invest such effort in creating these mysterious patterns? Some speculative theories venture into more extraordinary explanations. Some suggest the Sajama Lines could be remnants of a civilization far older than the known Andean cultures, possibly predating the Inca and their predecessors. Could they be the work of a long-lost culture whose knowledge has vanished without a trace? The precision of the lines, along with their alignment to astronomical events, such as solstices or equinoxes, has led some to theorize that the builders may have had a sophisticated understanding of the stars, similar to ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia. Were the lines used to track celestial bodies or to create an astronomical calendar? Others have proposed fringe theories suggesting extraterrestrial influence. Some believe the lines could be markers or forms of communication from beings beyond Earth. While highly speculative and unsupported by physical evidence, these ideas continue to intrigue those who imagine that ancient cultures were guided by visitors from other worlds. The mystery surrounding the lines, with their complexity and scale, has led some to consider unconventional theories. In recent years, local communities have shared their interpretations of the Sajama Lines. For some, the lines are seen as ancestral markers, tracing the paths of their forebears across the highlands. For others, the lines represent spiritual practices, channels where the energies of the earth and cosmos converge. Regardless of the interpretation, the mystery of who created the lines and why remains unsolved. As with many ancient structures, the answer may lie hidden in plain sight, waiting for future discoveries or technological advancements. Could further archaeological excavation or advanced imaging techniques reveal clues about the creators of the Sajama Lines? Or perhaps, as some suggest, the true purpose of the lines is not to be understood by modern minds, but remains locked in the forgotten wisdom of an ancient culture long lost to time. The Sajama Lines continue to be one of South America's most captivating mysteries. Who were the builders of these strange patterns? Were they practical pathways, celestial observatories, or something else entirely? And why have they remained hidden for so long, waiting for the right moment to be understood? Only time and further exploration may uncover the answers, but for now, the mystery endures, lying silently in the Bolivian highlands, inviting investigation and reflection. Deep within the serene waters of Fuxian Lake in China lies a mystery that has baffled scientists for years. This clear, deep lake, nestled within Yunnan province, is one of China's deepest bodies of fresh water, with depths reaching up to 155 meters. Surrounded by lush hills and ancient forests, the lake hides something far more enigmatic, a lost civilization submerged for centuries. In 2001, an unexpected discovery was made beneath the waters of Fuxian Lake. Divers investigating the lake's depths stumbled upon a series of stone structures, rows of rocks arranged in geometric patterns, submerged wooden beams, and what appeared to be ancient relics. Initially thought to be a natural formation, these findings were evidence of human activity. Archaeological research confirmed that the artifacts dated back over 2,000 years, potentially revealing the remnants of a once thriving civilization that vanished without a trace. The submerged structures beneath Fuxian Lake suggest that an ancient culture once flourished in the area, leaving behind tools, artifacts, and geometric formations that defy easy explanation. The arrangement of stones appears deliberate, as though someone had carefully constructed these patterns. But the key question remains: who were these people, and why did they leave behind such a mysterious legacy? Mainstream theories propose that the submerged structures may be linked to an ancient settlement that was eventually submerged due to a natural disaster, such as a flood or seismic activity. Some researchers believe that catastrophic events in the region, earthquakes and landslides, could have triggered the sinking of this ancient city into the lake. However, no written records have been found to explain the disappearance, leaving much of the history to speculation. The discovery of these submerged structures raises questions not only about the civilization that built them, but also about the broader history of Fuxian Lake. Estimated to be around 2.5 million years old, the lake's depths have likely held secrets for millennia, witnessing the rise and fall of unknown civilizations. Could this lost culture have been part of a larger network of ancient societies that once existed in the region? If so, what caused this civilization to disappear without leaving any trace in historical records? One of the most intriguing aspects of the Fuxian Lake mystery is the lack of information about the people who inhabited the area. Archaeologists have found a variety of tools and pottery that seem to be related to early Chinese cultures, but the style and craftsmanship of these objects don't fully align with known civilizations from that period. This suggests that the people near Fuxian Lake might have been part of a previously unknown civilization whose existence has been erased by time. Some speculative theories suggest that the civilization beneath Fuxian Lake may have been part of a much older society, potentially predating known Chinese dynasties. Could these structures belong to a civilization that existed before the Xia dynasty, often considered the first historical Chinese dynasty? Some researchers even suggest that the submerged city could be remnants of a civilization lost to antiquity, a precursor to the Chinese civilization that flourished thousands of years later. In more fringe theories, some have speculated that the submerged structures could be evidence of something more extraordinary, perhaps a lost city of mythic proportions, akin to Atlantis. While such ideas are dismissed by many historians, the mystery of the submerged city has inspired many to consider the possibility of ancient civilizations existing in ways we have yet to comprehend. Could this submerged settlement be the remnants of a far more advanced culture whose knowledge and achievements have been lost to history? What makes the Fuxian Lake mystery even more compelling is that, despite its significance, there has been relatively little exploration of the lake's depths. The technology to fully explore the submerged structures has only recently become available, and much of the lake's depths remain unexplored. Could more discoveries be waiting beneath the surface? Could further findings help clarify the civilization that once thrived here? Perhaps additional underwater excavations will reveal artifacts, inscriptions, or structures that could answer some of these questions, shedding light on a long-forgotten past. The submerged civilization of Fuxian Lake continues to be a tantalizing puzzle, one that beckons further investigation. Who were the people who left their mark beneath these waters? What events caused their sudden disappearance? And why has their civilization been erased from memory? The mystery remains unsolved, and the answers, if they exist, are still hidden beneath the waters of Fuxian Lake, waiting to be uncovered by those willing to explore its depths. In the vast desert landscape of southern Arizona, a series of ancient canals stretch across the arid terrain, weaving through the desert like veins in the earth. These canals, part of the Hohokam canal system, once represented a marvel of pre-Columbian engineering, a testament to the ingenuity of the Hohokam people who inhabited the region from 300 BC to 1450 AD. The canals were a vital lifeline, bringing water from the Salt and Gila rivers to a dry landscape, transforming it into fertile farmland that supported a thriving civilization. Yet, despite their scale and the culture they supported, the Hohokam canal system and the civilization itself came to an unexplained end. The canals, once the lifeblood of a vibrant society, were abandoned, and the people vanished, leaving behind a mystery that still confounds researchers. The Hohokam people are known for their impressive agricultural achievements, especially their ability to manipulate water in an environment where it is scarce. The canal system, spanning hundreds of miles, irrigated fields and sustained large settlements. The Hohokam engineered a sophisticated network of canals, some large enough to carry water across vast distances, and even developed methods to control the flow of water, ensuring that it reached crops precisely. At its height, Hohokam society thrived. Cities and villages flourished, and a bustling trade network extended across the region. The ingenuity of their irrigation systems was unparalleled at the time. Yet, by the late 1400s, the canals had been abandoned. The Hohokam people, once masters of the desert, seemingly vanished from the region. What caused the collapse of this advanced society, and why did they abandon the systems that sustained them? The answers remain elusive, leaving researchers to piece together fragments of a story lost to time. One widely accepted explanation for the end of the Hohokam canal system is environmental stress. The region is known for its extreme climate, and during the period leading up to the abandonment, the area experienced droughts. Could prolonged droughts have depleted the water sources that fed the canals, causing agricultural collapse? The Salt and Gila rivers, which once provided water to the Hohokam, may have seen reduced flow, making it difficult to sustain the network of canals. This theory suggests that the civilization could no longer support itself due to the decreasing availability of water, forcing the people to abandon their agricultural practices and ultimately their homes. However, this explanation doesn't fully account for the complete and sudden disappearance of the Hohokam people. While environmental factors could have played a role in the decline of their agricultural system, many researchers are puzzled by the abruptness of their abandonment. The canals were not just abandoned overnight. They were meticulously decommissioned, and in some cases, deliberately filled in. Why would a society dismantle something central to its survival? Was it a gradual withdrawal, or did a sudden event lead to the abandonment? Some theorists have suggested that the collapse of the Hohokam canal system might have resulted from social upheaval or political instability. Did internal conflicts or power struggles contribute to the abandonment? The Hohokam lived in a highly organized society with a complex social structure. It's possible that factionalism or competition for resources led to the collapse of the society from within, causing the abandonment of the canals and cities. However, evidence of social unrest is scarce, and no clear record of a violent or abrupt event explains the sudden end of the Hohokam civilization. Another intriguing theory is that external pressures forced the Hohokam to abandon their canals and cities. Could the arrival of other groups, such as the ancestral Puebloans, have led to conflict or migration? This idea suggests that the Hohokam might have been displaced by other cultures, with their advanced irrigation systems and cities falling to invaders. However, evidence of such invasions is minimal, and this theory remains speculative. There are also more speculative theories, suggesting that the collapse of the Hohokam civilization could be linked to a loss of knowledge or a religious shift. The Hohokam were known to be highly spiritual, and changes in religious beliefs might have led to a reevaluation of agricultural practices and a shift away from the canal system. This theory proposes that the abandonment of the canals could have been a spiritual or symbolic act, rather than a practical one. No matter the explanation, the sudden abandonment of the Hohokam canal system remains one of the great mysteries of pre-Columbian America. The canals, still visible today, stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that once thrived and then disappeared. What caused the people who built these intricate water systems to walk away? Was it the result of environmental changes, internal conflict, or something more mysterious? The answers remain hidden beneath the desert soil, leaving us to ponder the fate of the Hohokam people and the secrets they left behind. Could the full story ever be uncovered, or will the canals of the Hohokam continue to flow only in the realm of mystery? In the arid expanse of Iran's Sistan and Baluchistan province, where winds sweep across the desert, lies one of the most intriguing archaeological sites of the ancient world, Shahr-e Sukhteh, or the Burnt City. Located near the Helmand River, this prehistoric city, abandoned long before the rise of Persia's great empires, has captured the imagination of archaeologists and historians. The city's ruins, spread over 150 hectares, offer a glimpse into a civilization that flourished around 5,000 years ago. Yet, despite its size and the remarkable artifacts uncovered, Shahr-e Sukhteh's mysterious end continues to baffle researchers. The city's name, Shahr-e Sukhteh, means the burnt city, a reference to a catastrophic fire that left behind a layer of ash and charred remains. How could such a well-planned city, thriving between 3200 BC and 2100 BC, suddenly fall into ruin? What happened to its people, And why did they leave behind such an impressive but abandoned site? Excavations reveal a sophisticated urban center with homes, streets, and public spaces. The city's layout shows remarkable planning, including roads and canals supporting a large population. Evidence of advanced engineering and architecture includes large buildings, courtyards, and a distinctive drainage system that suggests a strong understanding of sanitation and water management. One of the most fascinating discoveries in Shahr-e Sukhteh is a large number of figurines, pottery, and unique artifacts. Among the most remarkable are small clay figurines that some researchers believe had religious or ceremonial significance. Along with evidence of early metalworking and bead-making, these discoveries point to a society with a rich cultural and artistic life. Additionally, the discovery of a burnt body preserved in ash raises the unsettling possibility that the city's collapse may have been far more violent or traumatic than previously thought. Mainstream explanations for the city's decline generally suggest environmental or climatic factors. The region is known for harsh desert conditions, and the people of Shahr-e Sukhteh likely faced challenges such as prolonged droughts, shifting river paths, or changes in local ecosystems. Evidence of irrigation systems suggests that the city's inhabitants relied on the Helmand River for agriculture. A change in the river's course or a decrease in water supply could have led to the city's downfall, forcing its people to abandon their homes in search of more fertile land. Another possibility is that the collapse was linked to social or political factors. The city's well-organized layout and sophisticated infrastructure suggest a highly structured society. Could internal conflicts or a breakdown in political leadership have led to the city's rapid decline? Some researchers also propose that the inhabitants may have faced external threats, such as raids or invasions from neighboring cultures, contributing to the city's destruction. The evidence of fire could indicate an attack or burning during an invasion. Despite these plausible explanations, the true cause of Shahr-e Sukhteh's abandonment remains unclear. The sudden nature of the city's collapse and the lack of evidence for a single definitive cause leaves room for speculation. Was the fire caused by an accident, or was it deliberately set as a final act of destruction? Some suggest that the city's population may have faced a sudden event, perhaps even a natural disaster like an earthquake, leading to the devastating fire. However, no clear evidence of such a disaster has been found. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the people of Shahr-e Sukhteh left no written records. The city predates the arrival of the Persians and their well-documented history, leaving no inscriptions or texts to shed light on the reasons for the city's sudden end. This lack of written evidence forces us to rely on material remains, figures, tools, pottery, and buildings, and to piece together the story of a civilization that flourished and then disappeared. Some fringe theories suggest that the city's destruction could be the result of a more extraordinary force. Could Shahr-e Sukhteh's abandonment have been linked to a supernatural or religious event? Was the city's destruction tied to a cultural or spiritual ritual we no longer understand? Could the burnt nature of the city be a metaphor for a societal collapse linked to beliefs or cosmological events we have yet to fully comprehend? The mystery of Shahr-e Sukhteh remains unsolved. The cause of the fire, the city's sudden abandonment, and the fate of its people are questions that continue to defy easy answers. As archaeologists continue to explore the ruins, they may uncover new evidence, but for now, Shahr-e Sukhteh stands as a silent testament to a lost civilization, waiting to be fully understood. What truly happened to this city, and what secrets remain hidden beneath its charred remnants? Only time and further discoveries may provide the answers. In the vast, wind-swept steppes of Central Asia, where grasslands stretch endlessly, the Scythians once roamed. A fierce, nomadic warrior culture, the Scythians dominated the Eurasian plains from around the 9th century BC to the 1st century BC, leaving behind a trail of mystery and intrigue. Known for their mastery of horseback riding and archery, they were feared and respected for their skills in warfare. But despite their formidable presence, their civilization vanished almost as abruptly as it had risen. What happened to the Scythian nomads, and why did their once thriving culture disappear from history? The most compelling clues to the Scythians' mysterious end come from their burial mounds, or kurgans, scattered across modern-day Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. These sites, some of which contain elaborate tombs filled with gold treasures, weapons, and artifacts, provide a window into the lives of this enigmatic people. Among these mounds, archaeologists have uncovered the remains of high-ranking Scythian warriors, often interred with extraordinary wealth, including intricately crafted jewelry and finely made weapons. Yet, the most startling discovery is the sheer number of tombs found empty, unmarked graves, seemingly devoid of the people who had once lived in the steppes. What caused the sudden disappearance of the Scythians? Several theories have been proposed, but none fully explain their enigmatic end. One explanation suggests the Scythians were gradually absorbed by other, more powerful cultures. In the 4th century BC, the Scythians faced increasing pressure from external forces. The arrival of the Sarmatians, a nomadic group from the east, and the expansion of the Greco-Roman world into their territory may have led to their decline. They could have been pushed out of their homelands or forced to integrate with other cultures, leading to the eventual fading of their language, customs, and identity. However, why then did the Scythians leave behind such mysterious burial sites, with no signs of migration or conquest? The empty tombs and abandoned cities add another layer to the mystery. Could the Scythians' disappearance have been the result of a catastrophic event, an internal collapse, a natural disaster, or a deadly plague? Some archaeologists suggest a sudden, severe climatic shift, such as a prolonged drought or freezing temperatures, could have decimated the Scythians' ability to sustain themselves. Evidence of harsh winters and changing environmental conditions around the time of their disappearance supports this theory. But the absence of clear evidence for such a widespread disaster leaves the question open. Others argue that the Scythians met a more direct, violent end. Could their decline have been caused by warfare? Though they were known for their warrior prowess, the Scythians were not invincible. In the 1st century BC, they faced incursions from the expanding Roman Empire, led by figures like Mithridates, the 6th of Pontus. Did these military pressures, along with internal divisions or invasions from other nomadic tribes, lead to the destruction of their culture? The sheer number of abandoned settlements and the suddenness of the collapse suggest a catastrophic event, though the details remain unclear. A more speculative theory links the Scythians' disappearance to a mysterious spiritual transformation. The Scythians were deeply spiritual, and their tombs often contained not just earthly goods, but items believed to be necessary for the afterlife. Some suggest that the nomads may have undergone a profound religious or cultural shift, choosing to abandon their way of life altogether, perhaps even retreating from the world instead of facing external threats. This theory posits that the Scythians could have made a collective decision to renounce their existence as they knew it. One of the most fascinating and fringe theories suggests that the Scythians' disappearance could be linked to an extraterrestrial event. While highly speculative, some believe that their sudden disappearance may have been caused by an unexplained, otherworldly phenomenon. Could a natural disaster, like a meteor strike or massive earthquake, have devastated their world, leaving no survivors to tell the tale? As new discoveries continue to emerge, one thing remains clear. The mystery of the Scythians' sudden disappearance is far from solved. The empty tombs, abandoned cities, and scattered remnants of their civilization stand as silent witnesses to a culture that has yet to fully reveal its secrets. What happened to the Scythians? Was their end the result of environmental pressures, warfare, or something more mysterious and extraordinary? The clues are there, but the answers are still elusive. What other hidden truths lie beneath the vast, silent steppes where the Scythians once roamed? Only time and further discoveries may provide the answers. Beneath the relentless sun of the Bayuda Desert in northern Sudan, a vast and barren landscape stretches out, interrupted only by jagged rock formations or distant dunes. The dry, desolate expanse hides secrets that have puzzled archaeologists and historians for years. Buried beneath the harsh sands lies the remains of a long-forgotten civilization, the Kushite Kingdom. Their remarkable achievements have been obscured by time, and their disappearance remains a mystery. The Bayuda Desert, located between the Nile River and the Red Sea Hills, was once part of the Kingdom of Kush. Today it is known for its dramatic beauty, volcanic rock formations, and lack of water, making life nearly impossible. Yet, thousands of years ago, this inhospitable desert was home to a thriving civilization. The Kushites, skilled in architecture, trade, and metallurgy, once made their mark on the African continent, with their kingdom a powerful force in the region. Scattered across the Bayuda Desert are the remains of ancient settlements, burial sites, and mysterious structures. Among the most notable discoveries are the remnants of ancient temples and pyramids, suggesting that the Kushites once held religious and political power in the area. The Kushites built impressive structures similar to those of their northern neighbors, the Egyptians, including pyramids that served as tombs for their kings and elites. These pyramids, however, are smaller and more modest than those in Egypt, but still demonstrate the Kushites' technical skill and cultural sophistication. Archaeologists have uncovered what appears to be a thriving city, complete with houses, public buildings, and advanced infrastructure. Pottery, tools, and artwork found at the site suggest that the people of the Bayuda Desert were not only skilled builders, but also traders, artisans, and religious devotees. Evidence of long-distance trade routes connects them to Egypt, the Arabian Peninsula, and beyond, indicating that they were part of a larger network of civilizations. Despite these remarkable discoveries, the true story of the Bayuda Desert civilization remains elusive. The kingdom that once flourished in this arid land eventually faded into obscurity. Its cities were abandoned, its people scattered, and its cultural legacy nearly erased. The cause of its collapse is unclear, and what remains of it is a patchwork of ruins, artifacts, and unanswered questions. Mainstream theories suggest that environmental factors may have contributed to the Kushites' decline. The region, once more hospitable, may have undergone climatic changes that led to droughts, reducing water availability and making agriculture unsustainable. This could have forced the people to abandon their cities and retreat to more fertile regions. Evidence of desertification in the area supports this theory, as the land was more conducive to settlement in earlier periods, with evidence of irrigation systems and agricultural practices. Another theory points to shifting political dynamics in the region. The Kushites, who once dominated the Nile Valley and surrounding areas, were eventually eclipsed by other rising powers. The Kingdom of Aksum, to the southeast, for example, began to gain influence, and the Kushites may have been absorbed or forced to retreat from competing civilizations. This theory suggests that the Kushites lost their political and military power, leading to the gradual abandonment of their settlements in the Bayuda Desert. However, these theories do not fully explain the sudden disappearance of such a once thriving civilization. The remains of the Bayuda Desert settlements show no signs of violent destruction, raising the question, were the Kushites displaced by external forces, or did they voluntarily abandon their homeland? The absence of written records or inscriptions further complicates the mystery, as there are no clear accounts of what happened to the civilization or its people. Some fringe theories suggest that the Kushites' decline could be linked to extraordinary events. could a natural disaster such as an earthquake have caused the sudden collapse of settlements? Or could the civilization have experienced a spiritual or ritualistic transformation that led them to abandon their way of life? Although there is no concrete evidence to support these ideas, the lack of definitive explanations leaves room for speculation. The mystery of the Bayuda Desert civilization remains unresolved. Who were the people who built these structures and thrived in this harsh desert landscape? What caused their sudden disappearance, and why have their achievements remained largely forgotten? Was their decline the result of environmental changes, political upheaval, or something more enigmatic? As researchers continue to explore the ruins of the Bayuda Desert, the answers may one day emerge. But for now, the lost civilization of the Kushite kingdom remains an enduring enigma. Could more discoveries be hidden beneath the desert sands, waiting to shed light on this long-lost culture? The question lingers, and as the winds continue to sweep across the barren plains, the mystery of the Bayuda Desert civilization invites further investigation and reflection. In the fertile plains of northern Vietnam along the banks of the Red River, once stood the capital of the Liang dynasty, an influential power that ruled much of what is now northern Vietnam during the 6th and 7th centuries. The Liang dynasty thrived, known for its strong governance, rich culture, and impressive military might. It controlled the strategic region of Jiaoji, central to trade and cultural exchange in Southeast Asia. Yet, in the blink of an eye, the dynasty's power crumbled, vanishing from history almost as quickly as it had risen. At the heart of this mystery is the question: what led to the sudden fall of the Liang dynasty? How could a prosperous kingdom, whose rulers left behind grand cities, impressive artifacts, and a lasting legacy, disintegrate so abruptly? Unlike many ancient civilizations, no detailed records from the Liang period describe their downfall. Only scattered remains and fragmented accounts from later texts remain, contributing to the intrigue that still captivates scholars today. The end of the Liang dynasty is often attributed to the rise of external powers and internal instability. Around the mid-7th century, the empire faced growing threats from the expanding Tang dynasty in China. The Tang were not just a military force, they were also culturally and economically dominant, exerting significant pressure on neighboring regions like Jiaoji. In 679, the Tang launched a military campaign against the Liang, marking the beginning of the end. Though the Liang resisted, their inability to counter the Tang's might led to their eventual defeat. This external pressure, combined with internal strife, resulted in the fall of their capital and the collapse of their reign. But why did the Liang fall so suddenly and completely? It is often said that empires fall due to military defeat, economic decline, and internal corruption. Yet, the Liang dynasty had enjoyed relative stability before its collapse. Its military, while not as powerful as the Tang, was still formidable, and the region's economy remained largely intact. Why then did the empire not survive the pressure from the Tang, as other regions had? Why was the collapse of the Liang so swift? One theory points to political instability within the Liang court. In the dynasty's later years, infighting among the ruling elite weakened the central government. Corruption, factionalism, and ineffective leadership may have left the empire vulnerable to external forces. By the time the Tang launched their campaign, internal cohesion had already begun to deteriorate, making it difficult for the dynasty to defend itself. Another theory focuses on the military strategies employed by the Tang. The Tang were renowned for their disciplined and well-organized military forces, which had already proven successful in consolidating power across China. Their swift and decisive action in Jiaoji may have been a carefully executed campaign designed to break the Liang dynasty. This could explain why the fall of the Liang seemed so sudden and overwhelming, like a force that the empire couldn't withstand. Some historians have suggested that the decline of the Liang dynasty was influenced by environmental or economic factors that exacerbated the political crisis. The Red River Delta, the heart of the Liang dynasty's power, was an agricultural hub, heavily reliant on irrigation from the river. Floods or droughts could have disrupted the economy, leading to food shortages, social unrest, and a breakdown in the empire's ability to sustain its population. Combined with external pressures from the Tang and internal conflicts, the Liang may have been too fragile to survive such challenges. There are also more speculative theories, some suggesting the Liang's fall was a result of a broader cultural or spiritual crisis. The Liang dynasty was deeply spiritual, and some propose that the rulers lost the favor of their gods or experienced a spiritual transformation. Could the empire's rapid decline be seen as a symbolic end, representing a civilization once blessed with prosperity and divine favor? This theory suggests that the empire may have experienced more than just military loss. It could have been a loss of spiritual support that weakened their resolve. The mystery surrounding the fall of the Liang dynasty remains unsolved. While military defeat and internal strife are widely accepted explanations, the suddenness of its collapse raises more questions than answers. Could there have been other hidden factors, economic, spiritual, or cultural, that contributed to the downfall? Or did the Liang simply succumb to the weight of external pressure, internal conflict, and the tides of history? As archaeologists continue to explore the remnants of the Liang dynasty, uncovering ancient structures, inscriptions, and artifacts, we may one day discover more about this once great civilization. But for now, the end of the Liang remains one of Southeast Asia's greatest mysteries, its true cause buried in the annals of history, waiting for the right clues to bring its story back to life. What else might still be hidden in the ruins of the Liang dynasty? Only time and further exploration will tell. Nestled between the Kura and Araxes rivers, where modern-day Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkey converge, once thrived the Kura-Araxes culture. Existing from 3400 to 2000 BC, this civilization left a legacy that has puzzled archaeologists for centuries. The Kura-Araxes people were skilled farmers, potters, and metalworkers, known for their distinctive pottery decorated with bold patterns and geometric shapes. Despite their cultural vibrancy and significant contributions, the Kura-Araxes culture vanished without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that endures today. The region's landscapes are breathtaking, rugged mountains in the distance, and rivers snaking through fertile valleys. These natural resources made the area ideal for agriculture, and the Kura-Araxes people made full use of the land, cultivating wheat, barley, and other crops while raising livestock. Their settlements, though not as grand as those in Mesopotamia or Egypt, were sophisticated in their own right. They built homes, created tools, and crafted pottery with remarkable skill, often adorning their creations with intricate designs that became symbols of their culture. Archaeological excavations have uncovered remnants of early settlements with evidence of advanced planning and social organization. Their pottery, often red or black, featured motifs like spirals, triangles, and wavy lines. They also created unique metal objects, including copper and bronze tools, weapons, and jewelry. Despite these impressive achievements, the Kura-Araxes people left no written records, making it difficult to fully understand their society or beliefs. And more importantly, their sudden disappearance remains one of history's great mysteries. Mainstream explanations for the collapse of the Kura-Araxes culture often point to environmental changes. As with many ancient civilizations, shifting climatic conditions likely played a role in their decline. Evidence suggests that the region experienced shifts in weather patterns, droughts, or changes in river flow that may have disrupted agriculture, leading to food shortages and the eventual abandonment of settlements. Many Kura-Araxes sites show signs of gradual depopulation, with some settlements completely abandoned by 2000 BC. However, environmental stress alone doesn't explain the complete and sudden disappearance of the Kura-Araxes culture. It is unlikely that such a skilled agricultural society would simply vanish because of an extended drought. Why then did they abandon their settlements, rich culture, and knowledge of the land? One theory suggests that the Kura-Araxes people may have been displaced by more powerful groups. The region was home to numerous peoples, and migrations from neighboring areas like the Caucasus or Anatolia might have contributed to their downfall. The arrival of new groups could have disrupted the Kura-Araxes society, forcing them to either assimilate or retreat to other regions. Another possibility is internal conflict or societal collapse. The Kura-Araxes culture had a thriving agricultural base and intricate social systems, but factionalism, competition for resources, or rising social inequality could have led to fragmentation. Without central governance or a unified structure, the society may have unraveled, causing the abandonment of settlements and the dispersal of its people. A more speculative theory posits that the Kura-Araxes collapse was due to a spiritual or ideological shift. Did the rulers and people face a cultural transformation that led to the abandonment of their way of life? With few signs of war or external violence in the archaeological record, and the absence of large-scale destruction at their sites, it raises the question: could the Kura-Araxes people simply walk away from their cities and fields in search of something else, a new way of life? Fringe theories offer more extraordinary explanations. Some suggest that the Kura-Araxes people might have fallen victim to a catastrophic event, such as a natural disaster of such magnitude that it wiped out the civilization almost overnight. Could an earthquake, volcanic eruption, or other massive geological event have rendered the region uninhabitable, forcing the people to abandon their settlements? Even more fantastical theories suggest extraterrestrial involvement. While highly speculative, some believe that a celestial event, like a meteor impact or unusual astronomical phenomenon, could have triggered the end of the culture. Though far-fetched, these ideas continue to captivate those intrigued by the unknown. The truth remains elusive. What caused the Kura-Araxes culture to disappear so abruptly? Was it environmental factors, social collapse, or something more extraordinary? As archaeologists continue to explore the remnants of their settlements, new discoveries may eventually shed light on this long-forgotten civilization. For now, the mystery of the Kura-Araxes culture endures, waiting for the right clues to unlock its secrets. What else lies hidden beneath the earth, waiting to reveal the fate of these ancient people? Only time and further exploration may provide the answers. Along the East African coast, where the warm waters of the Indian Ocean meet the sandy shores, lies a mystery that has intrigued historians and archaeologists for centuries: the lost ancient city of Rapta. Described by classical Greek and Roman writers, Rapta was once a bustling port city, a center of trade and culture where merchants from across the ancient world gathered to exchange goods. Despite its prominence in ancient accounts, the exact location of Rapta remains elusive, and its fate is shrouded in uncertainty. Historical references to Rapta date back to the 1st century BC, with Greek and Roman texts describing it as a powerful city along the coast of what is now modern-day Tanzania. Rapta was said to be wealthy, with connections to distant lands, and a major hub in the trade networks of the Indian Ocean. The city dealt in ivory, gold, and exotic animals, linking the Mediterranean world to Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and even Southeast Asia. It was even mentioned by the famous Greek geographer Ptolemy in his Geographia, though he offered few details about its exact location. Despite these tantalizing accounts, no physical trace of Rapta has been definitively identified. Archaeologists have scoured the East African coast for years, searching for clues, but it has never been found. Numerous sites have been proposed as potential locations, but none have yielded conclusive evidence to confirm their identity. The absence of clear remains has led some to question whether Rapta was a real city or a mythical place created by ancient writers. One widely accepted theory is that Rapta was located along the Tanzanian coast, near the area of modern-day Dar es Salaam. This region, with its sheltered harbors and access to trade routes, seems ideal for a port city. In the 1970s and 1980s, excavations along the Tanzanian coast uncovered ancient ruins, including pottery and coins that suggest long-distance trade. Some findings resemble objects described in ancient accounts of Rapta, leading some to believe this may have been the site of the lost city. However, no definitive evidence has been found to link these ruins directly to Rapta. The mystery deepens when considering that Rapta may have existed in a form difficult for modern archaeologists to identify. Ancient accounts describe Rapta as a city built along small islands or peninsulas, suggesting it was a coastal settlement reliant on maritime trade. Over time, environmental changes such as rising sea levels, coastal erosion, or shifting river systems could have submerged or eroded the city's remains, leaving only fragmented artifacts behind. Another theory suggests that Rapta's decline may have been tied to changes in regional trade routes. As trade networks evolved, the city might have been bypassed or supplanted by newer, more convenient ports. The rise of Kilwa along the Swahili coast, which became a dominant trading power in the Indian Ocean by the 12th century, could have led to Rapta's decline and eventual disappearance. Beyond conventional explanations, some propose more speculative ideas. Could Rapta have been abandoned due to internal conflict, environmental catastrophes, or the collapse of its trade economy? Some have suggested the city might have been the site of a great conflict or natural disaster, such as an earthquake, tsunami, or volcanic activity, which could have altered the landscape and led to its downfall. However, no concrete evidence supports such theories, and the absence of written records leaves room for conjecture. One of the most fascinating but speculative theories is that Rapta was not only an economic hub, but also a cultural or spiritual center. Its abandonment might have been linked to a larger shift in the region's identity. Could the people of Rapta have left the city behind as part of a migration, retreating into the interior of Africa, or undergoing a societal transformation? The idea that a thriving, influential city could vanish without leaving definitive archaeological traces challenges our understanding of ancient history. Could there have been cultural or spiritual beliefs at play that we have yet to fully comprehend? As new archaeological technologies and remote sensing techniques are applied to the search for Rapta, there remains the possibility that more will be uncovered. But for now, the mystery of the lost city persists. What happened to Rapta? Was it a thriving center of commerce and culture that simply faded into history? Or is it still out there, hidden beneath the sands and waters of the East African coast, waiting to reveal its secrets? The answers may lie just beyond the horizon, still waiting to be uncovered. In the heart of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, amidst the dense jungle, rises the ancient city of Uxmal, a forgotten monument to a civilization long gone. Its towering structures, grand pyramids, intricate temples, and expansive palaces echo the once thriving culture that built them. Flourishing between the 7th and 10th centuries AD, Uxmal was a powerful political and ceremonial center, with structures designed with mathematical precision and adorned with stunning carvings. Yet, despite its architectural brilliance and cultural significance, Uxmal was suddenly abandoned. What caused its inhabitants to leave, with no clear explanation or record of their departure? The city is known for monumental structures, with the Pyramid of the Magician standing as its crown jewel. Nearly 35 meters tall, this pyramid features steep steps and a rounded elliptical shape, setting it apart from other regional pyramids. The Nunnery Quadrangle, another highlight, is a series of interconnected buildings with detailed stone carvings depicting gods, animals, and rulers. Uxmal's layout was also aligned with astronomical events, with structures like the Pyramid of the Magician and the Governor's Palace oriented to specific celestial events. Yet, despite its strategic importance and cultural wealth, Uxmal was abandoned around the end of the 10th century. Unlike other Maya cities, which gradually declined due to shifting political power or changing environmental conditions, Uxmal's abandonment appears to have been abrupt. Its once bustling marketplaces and ceremonial centers were left in disarray, with no signs of violent conquest or mass destruction. The question remains, why did the inhabitants of Uxmal suddenly leave? Mainstream explanations for Uxmal's abandonment often point to environmental factors. The Yucatan Peninsula is prone to cyclical droughts, and a prolonged dry period during the late 9th century may have caused agricultural collapse, disrupting the city's economy and forcing migration to more fertile land. Evidence suggests that the region suffered from soil depletion and reduced water access. For a civilization so reliant on agriculture, the sudden loss of resources could have caused widespread hardship and eventually led to migration. However, environmental stress alone doesn't fully explain Uxmal's abrupt abandonment. Unlike other Maya cities, Uxmal shows no signs of violent conflict, such as the destruction of buildings or burning of structures. There is no evidence of an invasion or military conquest. The city appears to have been well preserved when it was abandoned, suggesting that the inhabitants left voluntarily, possibly due to factors beyond environmental hardship. Another theory involves political or social factors. The Maya civilization was made up of city-states, each ruled by its own leader, and power struggles were common. It's possible that Uxmal experienced internal instability, with factions within the city leading to its decline. Alternatively, the rise of new power centers, like Chichen Itza, could have made Uxmal less significant. This theory suggests that Uxmal's abandonment was part of a broader political shift in the region, rather than a result of a singular event. A more speculative theory suggests that Uxmal's collapse could have been linked to a spiritual or religious upheaval. The Maya were deeply spiritual, with beliefs centered on gods, the natural world, and celestial events. Could the city's abandonment have been caused by a cosmic event or religious transformation that disrupted their society? Some suggest that the people of Uxmal may have felt abandoned by their gods, or that divine intervention, through omens, natural disasters, or celestial phenomena, prompted their decision to leave. These ideas remain speculative, as no concrete evidence supports them, but they offer an intriguing perspective on the city's sudden end. The mystery of Uxmal's abandonment deepens within the broader context of the Maya civilization's collapse. By the end of the 10th century, many other major Maya cities, such as Tikal and Copan, also experienced sudden declines. Researchers suggest that the Maya faced interconnected challenges, environmental, political, and social, that led to the collapse of several key centers. Uxmal, as part of this broader pattern, may have fallen victim to these forces, though the details of its demise remain unclear. Today, the ruins of Uxmal stand surrounded by the lush jungle that once sustained it, and the question of why this remarkable city was abandoned remains unanswered. Was it environmental collapse, political upheaval, or something more profound? The clues are scattered across the vast, silent ruins of a civilization long past. The full story of Uxmal's fall may still be hidden, waiting for new discoveries to unlock its mysteries. Could there be something yet to be uncovered beneath the jungle, waiting to reveal the true fate of the once great city? Only time will tell. Deep within the dense jungles of Honduras, where towering trees and thick vines cover the land, lies one of Central America's greatest mysteries, the lost city of La Ciudad Blanca, or the White City. Hidden in the verdant expanse, This mythical city has long intrigued explorers and archaeologists. Descriptions of La Ciudad Blanca, often noted for its grand architecture and unique artifacts, have fueled imaginations for generations, but its exact location remains elusive, and its true nature is still shrouded in mystery. The name La Ciudad Blanca evokes an aura of intrigue. Said to be a city of great importance, it was described as being made of gleaming white stone, possibly reflecting the region's high rainfall or an advanced understanding of architecture. The allure of the city is rooted in its possible wealth. Treasures of gold, jade, and other valuable artifacts hidden there long ago. For decades, stories of the city's riches have captivated adventurers, archaeologists, and historians alike, each hoping to uncover the secrets of this long-lost place. Despite its presence in the collective imagination, actual evidence of La Ciudad Blanca is scarce. The first mention of its potential location comes from early explorers, including Hernán Cortés, who heard stories from indigenous tribes about a great city hidden in the jungle. These stories passed down through generations, but the city remained elusive, existing only as a legend with no physical evidence to confirm its existence. In the 1930s, the first archaeological expeditions began, driven by reports from locals and rumors of a hidden city. However, the dense terrain of the Mosquitia region made it nearly impossible to pinpoint the city's exact location. Explorations were hindered by harsh conditions, dangerous wildlife, and treacherous rivers, thwarting efforts to uncover the city's remains. It wasn't until recent years, with the advent of new technologies like satellite imagery and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, that new insights into the jungle's secrets began to emerge. In 2015, a team of scientists and archaeologists, using LiDAR, detected signs of ancient structures buried beneath the dense canopy. This breakthrough suggested that large, complex structures might be hidden, possibly the remains of La Ciudad Blanca. However, no conclusive evidence has yet linked these structures to the fabled city. The most widely accepted theory is that La Ciudad Blanca was part of the pre-Columbian civilizations that once thrived in the region, likely built by indigenous peoples such as the Lenca or Picts. These groups, which flourished in what is now Honduras long before the arrival of the Spanish, could have created a city of significant size and sophistication. The region was a major center for trade, connecting different parts of Central America, and it's possible that the city served as a cultural or religious hub. But what caused the city, if it ever truly existed, to be abandoned? Mainstream explanations suggest that environmental factors, deforestation, soil erosion, or prolonged drought, may have played a role in the city's abandonment. The jungles of Honduras are known for rapid climate changes, and it's possible that a sudden decline in the environment forced the people of La Ciudad Blanca to leave. Evidence of deforestation around ancient settlements suggests that intense farming practices may have damaged the land, making it difficult to sustain large populations. However, while environmental factors provide a plausible explanation, they don't fully account for the city's abrupt disappearance. Why? If the city was thriving, would it have been abandoned so suddenly, without any clear indication of its fall? Some have speculated that the city may have fallen victim to an invasion or conflict. The region has a history of political fragmentation, and it's possible that warfare or internal dissent led to the city's decline. Yet no evidence of large-scale destruction has been found. More speculative theories abound, suggesting that the loss of La Ciudad Blanca may have been tied to something more mysterious. Could the city have been abandoned due to a spiritual or religious shift? The Maya, along with other ancient cultures, were deeply spiritual, and some believe the collapse of La Ciudad Blanca may have been due to a shift in religious beliefs or a mystical event that prompted its inhabitants to leave. Though highly speculative, this idea remains intriguing, especially given the lack of evidence of violent conflict or destruction. Fringe theories suggest even more extraordinary explanations. Some propose that La Ciudad Blanca's disappearance could be the result of a catastrophic event, such as a massive natural disaster, an earthquake, volcanic eruption, or meteor impact that wiped out the civilization almost overnight. These ideas remain speculative and unsupported by concrete evidence, but they continue to captivate the imagination. Regardless of the theory, the mystery of La Ciudad Blanca endures. While advances in technology have brought us closer to understanding the secrets of the Mosquitia region, the true nature of the city remains elusive. Was it a grand metropolis, full of riches and culture, or a myth that grew over time? Could there be more discoveries hidden beneath the jungle, waiting to reveal the full story? As the search for answers continues, the mystery of La Ciudad Blanca remains one of the most captivating and unresolved puzzles in ancient history. Only time and further exploration will tell. Amidst the lush, vibrant expanse of the Amazon rainforest in northern Brazil, there lies a vast floodplain, crisscrossed by rivers and streams where a once flourishing civilization known as the Marajoara thrived. Hidden deep within the jungle, this society, long forgotten, was unknown to the modern world until the late 19th century. The Marajoara people built a complex civilization on the island of Marajo, surrounded by the muddy waters of the Amazon River, now one of the most mysterious and unexplored regions of the Amazon basin. The Marajoara were known for their impressive earthen mounds, pottery production, and elaborate social structures. Their settlements, strategically located near water sources, were well organized, providing access to transportation and trade routes. Archaeological excavations have revealed the remains of ceremonial centers, large burial mounds, and domesticated plants, indicating a society deeply connected to agriculture and resource management. The island of Marajo was once a thriving hub, home to thousands, with evidence of advanced agriculture, trade networks, and artistic expression. Yet, despite these achievements, by the time European explorers arrived, the Marajoara had disappeared, leaving no written records or clear accounts of their downfall. The mysterious end of the Marajoara civilization has sparked countless theories. One widely accepted explanation points to environmental changes. The island of Marajo, like much of the Amazon basin, is prone to seasonal floods, and shifts in the region's climate, such as more severe flooding or drought, could have disrupted agricultural systems. The fertile land that once supported thriving crops may have become less viable, forcing the population to relocate or abandon their settlements. Yet, while environmental change seems plausible, it doesn't explain the sudden disappearance of the Marajoara. Unlike other ancient civilizations, Uxmal shows no signs of violent conflict or large-scale external threats. No evidence of invasion or warfare has been found, and the Marajoara did not experience the political upheaval common in the fall of other civilizations. Could they have left voluntarily, or was there a more sudden and catastrophic event? Some speculate that the decline of the Marajoara might be linked to overpopulation or societal strain. The Marajoara's complex agricultural system could have led to overexploitation of the land, depleting resources essential for sustaining large populations. This internal strain might have caused a breakdown in social order, forcing people to abandon their cities. While this theory provides a gradual explanation, it still doesn't account for the complete abandonment of their society. Another theory suggests the collapse could have been the result of a cultural or religious shift. The Marajoara were known for their intricate ceremonial practices, and some believe that a change in religious beliefs or social structure could have led to the abandonment of their traditional way of life. This theory suggests that the people of Marajo left not because of environmental or economic pressures, but due to a profound shift in worldview. There are fringe theories, some more speculative than others, suggesting external forces played a role in the Marajoara's disappearance. Could a massive disaster, such as a celestial event, disease outbreak, or environmental catastrophe, have wiped out the population or forced them to flee? Though these ideas remain speculative, they add an element of intrigue to an already mysterious story. More radical suggestions even propose that the Mara-Joara might have been part of a much older civilization, one with advanced knowledge or technology that has since been lost to time. Could their disappearance be tied to a larger historical event that shaped the trajectory of ancient cultures? Some researchers believe the Mara-Joara's impressive art and architecture point to a highly advanced society, though these ideas remain speculative. As research on the Mara-Joara continues, new discoveries may offer more clues about their life and sudden disappearance. The earthen mounds, pottery shards, and ceremonial artifacts that remain scattered across Marajo Island are silent witnesses to a rich cultural history. However, the true cause of the Mara-Joara's decline is still unknown. Was it environmental change, societal collapse, or something more enigmatic? Could more be buried beneath the surface of the Amazon, waiting to be uncovered? The mystery of the Mara-Joara continues to captivate researchers. While we may never fully understand the reasons behind their sudden disappearance, their story reminds us of the fragility of civilizations and the vast secrets still hidden in the depths of the Amazon rainforest. What else might the jungle be hiding, and how much of the Mara-Joara's legacy remains to be discovered? Only time and further exploration will reveal the answers. Deep in the lush, verdant landscapes of southern Costa Rica, where the Rio de Ge'ez flows through fertile valleys, lie the remnants of a once thriving civilization, the Ge'ez culture. Known for their remarkable stone spheres and intricate craftsmanship, the Ge'ez people lived between 700 and 1500 AD. Their society was complex, with advanced knowledge in art, metallurgy, and social organization. However, despite their achievements, the Ge'ez vanished without a clear explanation. What caused the end of this powerful culture, and why did their cities and monuments fall into ruin? The most iconic legacy of the Ge'ez culture is their stone spheres, known as las esferas. These perfectly round stones, some weighing several tons, were carved from basalt and arranged in patterns across the landscape. Their purpose remains unclear. Some suggest they represented celestial bodies or divine forces, while others believe they marked territorial boundaries or ceremonial sites. The spheres, scattered across the region, are an extraordinary testament to the technical and artistic skills of the Ge'ez. Yet, despite their complexity, no written records or explanations have been found to explain their significance. Archaeological evidence also includes elaborate goldwork, pottery, and ceremonial artifacts. The people of Ge'ez were skilled artisans, and their society was centered on trade, agriculture, and religion. The construction of large ceremonial centers and settlements indicates that the Ge'ez were organized and thriving. Yet, by the time the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, the Ge'ez had disappeared, leaving no survivors to explain their fall or any records of what happened. All that remained were the stone spheres and abandoned cities. Mainstream theories often link the decline of the Ge'ez culture to environmental factors. The region is prone to periodic flooding and climate changes, and a series of natural disasters, such as severe flooding, drought, or earthquakes, may have disrupted their agricultural systems. The Ge'ez relied heavily on agriculture, and any disturbance to these systems could have caused food shortages and prompted the abandonment of their settlements. Evidence suggests that soil depletion and reduced access to water resources may have played a role in their collapse. However, while environmental factors provide a plausible explanation, they don't fully account for the sudden disappearance of the Ge'ez. Unlike other ancient civilizations, Uxmal shows no signs of violent conflict or large-scale external threats. No evidence of invasion or warfare has been found, and the Ge'ez did not experience the political upheaval common in the fall of other civilizations. Could they have abandoned their land willingly, or did something more sudden and catastrophic occur? Some theorists suggest that the Ge'ez decline could have been due to overpopulation or societal strain. Their complex agricultural system and intensive resource management might have led to overexploitation of the land, eventually exhausting the resources needed to sustain such a large population. This internal strain could have caused a breakdown in social order, forcing people to abandon their cities and communities. While this theory offers a gradual explanation, it still doesn't account for the complete abandonment of their society. Another theory posits that the Ge'ez experienced a cultural or spiritual transformation, leading to the abandonment of their traditional way of life. The Ge'ez were known for their intricate ceremonial practices, and some believe that a shift in religious beliefs or social structure may have prompted the people to leave their settlements in search of new spiritual or cultural paths. This theory suggests that the Ge'ez left not because of external pressures, but due to a profound change in worldview. Yet, with no written records to support this, it remains speculative. There are also fringe theories, some more fantastical than others, suggesting that the Ge'ez were affected by external forces. Could a sudden unknown disaster, such as a volcanic eruption, meteor strike, or environmental catastrophe, have wiped out the population or forced them to flee? While volcanic activity in the region is well documented, no direct evidence links such an event to the fall of the Ge'ez. One of the more radical suggestions is that the Ge'ez were part of a much older civilization with advanced knowledge that has since been lost to time. Some researchers argue that their impressive artwork and architecture point to a highly advanced society. Could the Ge'ez disappearance be tied to a larger historical event that shaped the trajectory of ancient cultures? This theory remains speculative, but adds to the mystery surrounding their civilization. Despite these theories, the true cause of the Ge'ez culture's sudden disappearance remains unknown. Was it environmental change, internal collapse, or an unknown disaster that led to the end of this remarkable civilization? Could the answers be buried beneath the jungles of Costa Rica, waiting for further excavation and exploration? Or is it possible that the true story of the Ge'ez and their enigmatic stone spheres will remain forever elusive, lost to the ages? The mysteries of the Ge'ez culture continue to captivate researchers. While we may never fully understand the reasons behind their sudden disappearance, their story reminds us of the fragility of civilizations and the vast secrets still hidden in the depths of the Amazon rainforest. What might still be waiting to be uncovered beneath the jungle? Only time will tell. Deep in the lush rainforests of southern Costa Rica, where the Rio Ge'ez flows through fertile valleys, lie the remnants of the Valdivia culture. This ancient civilization flourished over 3,000 years ago, long before the rise of the Incas or other well-known societies. The Valdivia people were among the earliest settled agricultural societies in the Americas, known for their impressive pottery, intricate tools, and understanding of agriculture. Despite their remarkable advancements, the Valdivia culture mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only fragments of their once thriving society. The Valdivia site, nestled between hills and river systems, is rich with tropical vegetation. In this fertile land, the Valdivia people built settlements, creating complex structures and pottery. Some of their pottery, decorated with geometric patterns and animal motifs, is considered among the oldest in the Americas. The sophistication of these works suggests a society deeply connected to art, trade, and culture. Yet despite their achievements, the cause of the Valdivia culture's sudden disappearance remains unclear. Mainstream theories suggest environmental and climatic changes contributed to the collapse of the Valdivia culture. The region, known for its rich soil and abundant resources, was ideal for farming, particularly crops like corn and squash. However, fluctuating climate patterns such as droughts, floods, or shifting seasonal conditions may have disrupted agriculture, leading to food shortages. This, in turn, might have forced the Valdivia people to abandon their settlements. While environmental changes offer a plausible explanation, they do not fully account for the sudden disappearance of the Valdivia. Unlike other ancient civilizations, there are no signs of large-scale destruction, violence, or warfare at the Valdivia site. The lack of political upheaval or external conquest raises questions. Why would the Valdivia leave their thriving settlements without warning? And why didn't they adapt to environmental challenges, as many other ancient cultures did? One theory suggests the collapse of the Valdivia culture may have been due to social or political factors. Like many early societies, the Valdivia may have had social hierarchies or systems of governance which could have destabilized their society. It's possible that internal conflict or power struggles led to fragmentation, causing the civilization to unravel. Yet, there is little evidence of such unrest, leaving this theory uncertain. The absence of any signs of violent conflict makes it difficult to determine if internal issues contributed to the sudden abandonment. Another possibility is that the Valdivia were displaced by external forces, such as migration or invasion. The region around Valdivia was known for its natural wealth and strategic location, which might have made it attractive to neighboring groups. Could the Valdivia have been overrun or forced to migrate by incoming peoples, perhaps from other parts of South America or the Andean highlands? However, the lack of evidence for invasion or warfare weakens this theory, making it less convincing. A more speculative theory suggests that the Valdivia culture experienced a profound spiritual or religious shift that led to their departure. The Valdivia are believed to have had religious beliefs tied to the natural world, and some theorists suggest a change in their worldview, possibly driven by celestial or astronomical events, could have prompted them to leave. Could the Valdivia have voluntarily abandoned their settlements in search of a new way of life, driven by a cultural transformation or spiritual guidance? While intriguing, this theory remains speculative, as there is no direct evidence linking their disappearance to a religious crisis. The most perplexing aspect of the Valdivia culture's decline is the absence of written records. Unlike many other ancient societies, the Valdivia did not leave behind texts or inscriptions to explain their end. We are left with only the objects they left behind: pottery, tools, and architectural remains, which provide tantalizing clues but no definitive answers. The lack of written language in a society that had advanced so far deepens the mystery surrounding their sudden disappearance. What caused the Valdivia culture to vanish so abruptly? Was it environmental changes, internal collapse, or an unexplained event or belief that led to their departure? As new archaeological techniques and imaging technologies continue to uncover more about the Valdivia people, we may one day find the missing pieces of their story. Until then, the mystery of the Valdivia culture remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles of the ancient world. What other secrets might still be hidden beneath the soil, waiting to reveal the full truth of the Valdivia people's disappearance? Only time and further exploration will tell. In the coastal deserts of Libya, on the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, lie the haunting ruins of Leptis Magna. Once a thriving city, Leptis Magna was one of the Roman Empire's most prosperous urban centers. Today, it stands as a silent testament to its past, a sprawling, empty city with majestic structures crumbling under the weight of time. The remnants of grand forums, temples, and baths offer a glimpse into a civilization that once flourished. But the question remains: why did such a mighty city simply fade into obscurity? Leptis Magna was founded by the Phoenicians and later became a prosperous Roman city in the 2nd century BC. It was the birthplace of the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus, and under his rule, the city reached its zenith, flourishing as a trade hub between Africa and Europe. The intricate design of its structures, including the Severan Arch, the Grand Theater, and the sprawling marketplace, reflect a once thriving metropolis. The advanced architecture, with colonnaded streets and elaborately decorated public buildings, highlights the city's importance within the Roman Empire. The remains of its harbor also remind us of its maritime significance. Despite its remarkable history, Leptis Magna was abandoned, and its timeline of desertion remains unclear. Scholars suggest the city's decline began during the 4th century AD. What caused the city's sudden desertion? There were no large-scale battles or invasions that razed the city, nor was it destroyed by foreign conquerors. Instead, a gradual shift in power, political instability, and changing world dynamics led to its eventual abandonment. Mainstream theories often point to a combination of economic and political factors. The decline of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century had a profound impact on the Mediterranean, and Leptis Magna was no exception. As the Roman Empire fractured and central authority weakened, cities like Leptis Magna, once important centers of commerce, fell into disrepair. The city's economy, likely affected by the empire's decline, may have seen its trade routes disrupted. With the rise of new powers in North Africa, such as the Vandal Kingdom, Leptis Magna's strategic significance diminished, and its inhabitants may have left in search of better opportunities. Another key factor often cited is the changing environment. The region around Leptis Magna, once fertile and ideal for agriculture, may have faced significant climatic shifts. Records and archaeological evidence suggest periods of drought and soil erosion, which would have affected the city's agricultural capacity. The harbor, once bustling with trade, could have silted up, making it more difficult for ships to dock. These environmental challenges could have collapsed the city's infrastructure and economy, prompting its inhabitants to abandon the site in search of more hospitable land. Yet these explanations don't fully account for the suddenness of Leptis Magna's fall. Unlike other Roman cities, which faced prolonged declines, Leptis Magna seems to have been deserted almost immediately. Could there have been other, less tangible factors at play? Was there a religious, social, or political upheaval that caused its inhabitants to leave in haste? Could internal factors like civil unrest or rebellion have contributed to its swift abandonment? Some speculative theories suggest a more catastrophic event. One theory proposes that natural disasters, such as earthquakes or tsunamis, might have struck the region, severely damaging the city. Evidence of earthquakes and structural damage has been found in the ruins, though the exact timing and extent of these events remain uncertain. Could a natural disaster have led to the mass exodus of the population or contributed to the city's decline? Other fringe theories offer even more extraordinary explanations for the city's fall. Some suggest that the rise of Christianity during the 4th and 5th centuries AD may have altered the social structure of the city. The spread of Christian ideology could have led to a cultural transformation, causing the inhabitants to abandon their traditional Roman way of life. Could the Christianization of the empire have led to the downfall of Roman traditions in Leptis Magna? While fascinating, such ideas remain speculative, as there is no direct evidence of religious upheaval contributing to the city's desertion. In the absence of clear evidence, the mystery of Leptis Magna's abandonment continues to captivate historians and archaeologists. The city's grand ruins serve as a poignant reminder of a once thriving civilization, its empty streets and silent structures speaking volumes about the rise and fall of empires. As excavations continue, new discoveries may provide more clues to the reasons behind the city's sudden disappearance. But for now, the mystery remains unsolved. Was it the slow decay of the Roman Empire, environmental changes, or a more mysterious event that led to the city's abandonment? The ruins of Leptis Magna still hold many secrets that may one day reveal the truth behind its enigmatic end. In the rolling hills of Gyeongju, South Korea, lies a mystery buried deep in the earth, golden crowns that shimmer with a faint, timeless glow, relics of the ancient Kingdom of Silla. Discovered in tombs dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries, these crowns have baffled historians and archaeologists, offering few clues as to their origins or purpose. The Silla golden crowns are among the most exquisite and enigmatic artifacts from Korea's past, and their true meaning remains elusive. The crowns themselves are intricate, made of thin sheets of gold shaped into leaf-like patterns that cascade in ornate designs. Some crowns are adorned with jewels and beads, while others feature motifs resembling deer antlers or tree branches, suggesting connections to the natural world and spiritual significance. These crowns, found in the tombs of kings and queens, likely served as symbols of divine authority, worn during rituals meant to affirm the wearer's sacred connection to the heavens. Gyeongju, the capital of Silla, was known as the City of Gold at its height, and it was here that the most important archaeological sites were discovered. The tombs housing the golden crowns were often grand, surrounded by elaborate burial goods like armor, mirrors, and pottery. Despite the wealth of these tombs, one question persists. Who were the people who crafted these intricate pieces, and how did they possess such remarkable skill with gold? The origin of the Silla golden crowns is intriguing because their craftsmanship blends influences from several different cultures. The Silla kingdom, part of the three kingdoms of Korea, had artistic styles that drew from both Chinese and Central Asian traditions. The crown's detailed goldwork and nature-inspired motifs resemble the art of ancient nomadic peoples from the Eurasian steppes. The question remains, how did the Silla people, isolated by the rugged terrain of the Korean peninsula, come to incorporate these foreign elements into their culture? One widely accepted theory is that the Silla kingdom, with its active trade routes connecting it to China, India, and Central Asia, absorbed these influences over time. Archaeological evidence suggests that Silla was integrated into the Silk Road network, exchanging goods and cultural practices with regions far beyond its borders. The golden crowns, with their mixture of styles, could be a product of this exchange. Through trade, the Silla artisans may have adopted techniques and ideas from steppes peoples, blending them with their own traditions to create something unique. While this theory is plausible, it doesn't fully explain the level of sophistication in the crowns. The precision and artistry of the goldwork suggest skills that are difficult to explain by trade alone. How did the Silla develop such intricate metallurgical techniques, especially given their relative isolation? Could they have independently learned these skills, possibly from a long-lost civilization? Or was there another, more enigmatic source of inspiration? Some researchers speculate that the Silla golden crowns might be influenced by an older, more mysterious tradition, perhaps one that predates the rise of the Silla kingdom itself. Could these crowns be a legacy of an earlier civilization with knowledge of metallurgy that was passed down? Others suggest that the crowns could have been inspired by spiritual or religious symbolism, reflecting divine power. Were they representations of the king or queen's connection to the gods, as crowns often symbolize divine authority in many cultures? Or were they more personal, marking the wearer's spiritual or ritualistic role? This theory remains speculative, as there's no direct evidence linking the crowns to specific religious beliefs. A more fringe theory posits that foreign artisans may have been brought to Silla to teach their craft. Were the Silla people influenced by cultures far beyond their borders, possibly from Persia or Mesopotamia? While intriguing, there is little evidence to support the presence of such far-reaching connections during the time the crowns were made, making this theory less convincing. The lack of written records from the time deepens the mystery surrounding the Silla golden crowns. Later Korean texts provide some context for their importance, but offer few details about their origins. What did the crowns mean to the people who created them? Were they purely decorative, or did they have deeper spiritual significance? And what happened to the knowledge of how to create them? Despite the treasures found in the tombs, no detailed records remain, leaving the mystery of their creation and purpose unsolved. As modern archaeologists continue to unearth more tombs and analyze the golden crowns, the story of their creation and significance may one day be revealed. But for now, these crowns remain an enigmatic legacy of the Silla Kingdom, their origins as elusive as the people who crafted them. Could the answers be buried beneath the sands of time, waiting for future generations to uncover them? The mystery of the Silla Golden Crowns continues to beckon, urging further exploration and offering the tantalizing possibility of new discoveries. Beneath the rugged landscape of Cappadocia in central Turkey lies one of the most extraordinary and enigmatic structures ever discovered, the Derinkuyu underground city. Hidden deep beneath the surface, this sprawling network of tunnels, rooms, and chambers is carved into the soft volcanic rock of the region. Once capable of housing thousands, it was designed with intricate passages, ventilation shafts, wells, and even places of worship. Its sheer scale and complexity have baffled archaeologists, raising many questions. How and why was such a vast subterranean city built, and what caused its abandonment? The discovery of Derinkuyu dates back to the 1960s, when a local resident accidentally found the entrance while renovating his home. Beneath the surface, a massive labyrinth of corridors and rooms stretched as deep as 60 meters. The site includes storage areas, kitchens, living spaces, communal rooms, and even a church. The design suggests the city was built to withstand invasions. The tunnels could be sealed off with heavy stone doors, and its inhabitants could survive for extended periods without access to the outside world. Archaeologists have dated the city to the 8th century BC, though evidence suggests it was expanded during different periods, including the Byzantine era. The builders of Derinkuyu remain a mystery, but it is believed that the Hittites, Phrygians, and later early Christians might have used it as a refuge. The region itself has a long history of being a crossroads of various civilizations, each leaving behind its mark. The most widely accepted theory is that Derinkuyu was built as a refuge to protect its inhabitants from invasions. During antiquity, the region was regularly threatened by marauding forces, including the Assyrians, Romans, and later the Seljuks and Mongols. The underground city offered a secure hideout, allowing people to remain hidden for long periods. Ingeniously designed air shafts ensured ventilation, and the deep tunnels allowed the population to live beneath the surface. However, the purpose of the city raises more questions than answers. If Derinkuyu was indeed a refuge from invaders, why did its inhabitants stop using it? Unlike many ancient sites which saw gradual decay, Derinkuyu's decline seems sudden. The city was left intact but abandoned, buried by dust and forgotten until its rediscovery. Was it the fading threat of invasions, or was there another reason for the city's abandonment? One theory suggests that the city's abandonment was tied to changes in the political and economic climate. As threats from invasions diminished, perhaps due to shifting power dynamics or the rise of more secure cities, the need for such an elaborate refuge faded. Another possibility is that the rise of Christianity during the Byzantine period made the city less necessary. As Christian communities grew, particularly in the Byzantine era, the city's role may have dwindled as people moved to more secure centers of power. Others speculate that environmental factors played a role in the city's abandonment. Cappadocia's volcanic history means the region is prone to earthquakes, and some suggest that a major seismic event or shifting tectonic plates might have made underground living unsafe. However, there is little evidence of significant destruction caused by earthquakes in the immediate area, leaving this theory open to debate. The mystery surrounding Derinkuyu's abandonment deepens when we consider more speculative theories. Some suggest the city had spiritual or ritualistic significance. Could it have been abandoned due to a cultural or religious shift? Or was it tied to a secret society whose disappearance was linked to the city's purpose? Some even propose that Derinkuyi's purpose might have been something beyond a refuge, perhaps a center of knowledge or an ancient experiment in underground living, its secrets hidden by time. The true purpose and fate of Derinkuyu remain largely unknown, and its sudden abandonment adds to its allure. While its design and function are well documented, the reasons behind its decline and the people who once called it home continue to elude us. What might still be hidden beneath the surface, waiting for future explorers or researchers? Could new technologies, like advanced ground-penetrating radar, reveal more about the people of Derinkuyu and their mysterious disappearance? The underground city of Derinkuyu stands as a silent reminder of a lost world, a civilization that once sought safety beneath the Earth's surface. The answers may still lie buried deep within its labyrinthine tunnels, waiting to be uncovered. Along the banks of the Nile River, just south of Egypt, in what is now northern Sudan, lies the ancient kingdom of Nubia. Once a flourishing civilization known for its wealth, military prowess, and impressive architecture, Nubia was home to powerful kings and queens. Among the most iconic remnants of Nubian culture are the pyramids, particularly those in the ancient capitals of Meroe and Napata. These pyramids, though smaller and more steeply inclined than their Egyptian counterparts, stand as a testament to a remarkable civilization's ambition and engineering skills. Yet, despite their grandeur, the construction of Nubian pyramids came to a sudden halt, leaving behind a mystery that continues to confound historians. What caused the abrupt cessation of pyramid construction in Nubia? The pyramids of Nubia are scattered across the desert landscape, many still standing tall amidst the sands. With their sharp angles and compact forms, they evoke power and authority. Built as royal tombs, these pyramids served as final resting places for Nubian kings and queens, aiming to secure their legacy in the afterlife, much like the Egyptians. Some of the most famous pyramids are found at the Meroe site, where over 40 were constructed between the 3rd century BC and the 4th century AD. Others are in Napata, built during the Kingdom of Kush's reign. These architectural feats showcase the sophistication of the Meroitic civilization, which controlled the region for centuries. Yet, for reasons still unclear, the construction of pyramids ceased suddenly around the 4th century AD. While the Meroitic Empire itself eventually declined, the halt in pyramid construction is one of the most significant, unexplained events in Nubian history. What factors led to this abrupt change? One widely accepted explanation is the shifting political and religious landscape. By the 4th century AD, the Kingdom of Kush was undergoing major changes. The rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire, along with the spread of Christian missionaries, may have shifted religious practices. Pyramids, primarily constructed as tombs for royalty and symbols of divine authority, may have fallen out of favor with the introduction of Christianity. As the new faith spread, the belief system underpinning pyramid construction began to lose significance. The focus on afterlife rituals and the connection between kings and gods may have diminished, reducing the need for monumental tombs. Another factor often cited is the changing political dynamics in Nubia. At its height, the Meroitic kingdom had vast control over the Nile Valley, but the region began to lose power as Rome expanded. The weakening of the Meroitic kingdom, along with the eventual loss of Nubian independence, may have made the construction of monumental structures less feasible. With encroaching outside forces, resources and labor needed for such large-scale projects may have been diverted to fortifying cities or defending the kingdom. Some theories also suggest environmental factors contributed to the city's decline. While Cappadocia's climate remained relatively stable, there were occasional shifts that could have affected agriculture. Evidence of droughts or fluctuations in the Nile's flow suggests that climate changes might have hindered agricultural production, weakening the economy. As a result, resources for monumental construction might have become scarce, forcing the Nubians to abandon their pyramid-building tradition. Still, none of these explanations fully account for the sudden cessation of pyramid construction. Unlike other civilizations where the decline of monumental architecture is gradual, the Nubian pyramids stopped being built almost overnight. This rapid shift implies that an event or series of events may have catalyzed the abandonment of this ancient tradition. Speculative theories suggest that internal crises, such as a revolt or civil war, might have contributed to the sudden decline. Alternatively, religious or ideological shifts may have led the population to abandon traditional burial practices. Some even propose that an invasion or conquest disrupted society to such an extent that pyramid building ceased entirely. However, there is little concrete evidence to support these more extreme theories, leaving the true cause of the abandonment unclear. Could there have been a more mysterious force at play? Were the people of Nubia overwhelmed by social, religious, and political transformations that made pyramid construction obsolete? Or was there a more profound event that altered the trajectory of Nubian society? While ongoing archaeological digs continue to uncover fragments of Nubian history, the answers remain elusive. The cessation of pyramid construction in Nubia stands as a silent marker of a civilization's transformation. Its abruptness leaves behind a puzzle yet to be solved. The pyramids, steadfast in the desert, offer only their shape and silence as clues to a story that has long since faded into the sands of time. What other secrets lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered? Only further exploration may reveal why these magnificent structures were abandoned, offering insight into the mysterious halt of pyramid construction in Nubia. In the rugged hills of northern Pakistan, amidst the foothills of the Margala Range, lies the ancient city of Taxila. Once a thriving metropolis, Taxila was a key intellectual and cultural hub, playing a crucial role in the ancient world. The city, dating back to the 6th century BC, was a crossroads for various cultures: Greeks, Persians, Buddhists, and Hindus, each contributing to the knowledge, trade, and religious practices that defined the city. Today, the ruins still bear witness to its greatness, with remnants of grand temples, a royal palace, intricately carved pillars, and the crumbled remains of a once thriving urban center. Yet the reasons behind Taxila's sudden and unexplained decline remain a mystery. Taxila flourished during its role as the capital of the ancient Gandhara region. It became particularly prominent after falling under Achaemenid rule and later under Alexander the Great's conquest in the 4th century BC. The city continued to thrive under Greek and Mauryan influence, attracting scholars, traders, and pilgrims from across the ancient world. Taxila was home to one of the first universities in history, where renowned scholars like Chanakya, teacher of Chandragupta Maurya, are believed to have taught. However, by the 5th century AD, Taxila had fallen into decline. The city, once a bustling center of culture and commerce, grew silent. The reasons for its abandonment remain elusive. Unlike other ancient cities, which experience a gradual decline, Taxila's fall seems to have been abrupt, leaving historians to piece together clues in search of an explanation. One widely accepted explanation links the decline to political and military instability in the 5th and 6th centuries. As the Gupta Empire's influence waned, regional powers rose and fell, leaving Taxila vulnerable. The destruction wrought by invasions, particularly from the Huns in the 5th century, is often cited as a significant blow to the city's prosperity. These invaders, known for their destructive campaigns across northern India, could have sacked the city, leading to a swift decline. The ruins at Taxila show signs of widespread destruction, supporting the theory that the city was attacked and abandoned during this turbulent period. However, this theory does not explain the city's rapid abandonment. Unlike other ancient cities, which faced gradual depopulation due to war, famine, or economic collapse, Taxila's fall seems to have happened almost overnight. If the city was attacked, why did the inhabitants not return once the invaders left? Could there have been other, more subtle factors at play? One possibility is that the city's decline was due to shifts in trade routes. Taxila, once a key point along the ancient Silk Road, thrived due to its strategic location, facilitating trade between the east and west. However, as new routes opened up and trade patterns shifted, Taxila's importance as a commercial hub may have diminished. Without the steady flow of goods, the city's economy could have faltered, leading to its decline. Another theory suggests that the rise of new religious and cultural movements in the region contributed to Taxila's downfall. As Buddhism, which had flourished in the city, faced competition from other religions, Taxila may have lost its status as a center of learning and spiritual practice. The arrival of Islam around the 7th century AD could have further eroded the city's cultural and religious dominance, contributing to its abandonment as the center of influence shifted elsewhere. More speculative theories offer even more dramatic explanations. Some suggest that Taxila's fall could have been linked to a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, flood, or drought, that destroyed its infrastructure and made the city uninhabitable. The region is prone to seismic activity, and the sudden collapse of urban structures has led some to believe that a catastrophic event could have caused the rapid decline. A fringe theory proposes that the city's decline might have been tied to a religious or mystical shift. Could the city's inhabitants have voluntarily abandoned their once great city due to a cultural or spiritual transformation? The mysterious nature of Taxila's decline, coupled with the absence of clear historical records detailing its fall, leaves room for such speculative ideas. Were the people of Taxila swept up in a spiritual movement, abandoning the city as part of a larger ideological shift? The mystery of Taxila's abandonment continues to perplex researchers. The city's historical significance, combined with its sudden fall, raises many unanswered questions. Was it the result of political and military instability, changing trade dynamics, religious upheaval, or an unknown disaster? The ruins of Taxila, with their intricate carvings and majestic structures, offer no definitive answers but stand as silent witnesses to the mystery of its demise. Could further excavations reveal more clues? Or is the true reason behind Taxila's fall a secret buried too deep in time to ever be uncovered? The answers remain out of reach, waiting for the right discoveries to shed light on this once great city's enigmatic fate. In the fertile valleys of the Iberian Peninsula, nestled between rolling hills and winding rivers, lies the forgotten history of the Turdetani, an ancient people whose civilization once thrived in what is now southern Spain. Little remains of their cities, but the traces they left reveal a sophisticated culture that played a significant role in pre-Roman Iberian history. The Turdetani, often seen as one of the most advanced Iberian tribes, vanished around the 1st century BC, leaving behind a mystery that continues to confound scholars. What happened to this flourishing civilization, and why did they vanish so suddenly? The Turdetani were situated in the Guadalquivir River Valley, a region abundant in resources. Archaeological sites show evidence of highly organized urban centers, sophisticated agricultural techniques, and impressive pottery reflecting their advanced craftsmanship. They had strong trade networks, not only with neighboring Iberian tribes but also with Phoenicians and Carthaginians who established Mediterranean settlements. Their culture was rich in art, religion, and a distinctive form of writing, and they maintained a level of political and social organization that rivaled some of the more renowned civilizations. The Turdetani's most famous contribution comes from the Greek historian Strabo, who wrote of their wealth and connection to the ancient mythical city of Tartessos. The lost city, described as a wealthy, highly advanced society, is thought to be the cradle of Turdetani culture. Historians believe the Tartessians had a flourishing civilization centered around trade and resource exploitation, with close ties to ancient Mediterranean powers. As the Turdetani grew in power, they disappeared from the historical record. What led to their sudden vanishing? One widely accepted explanation centers around the rise of Roman influence in the Iberian Peninsula. By the 2nd century BC, Rome was extending its control over the region, and the Turdetani, like many Iberian tribes, found themselves caught in the Roman conquest. The Roman Republic, in its push to control the entire peninsula, systematically integrated or subjugated native tribes. The Turdetani were eventually incorporated into the Roman sphere, either through force or alliances. But why did they disappear so completely? Were they simply absorbed into Roman society, their culture and identity lost in the process? Some scholars suggest the Turdetani were gradually integrated into Roman culture, with their language, traditions, and way of life fading. However, the disappearance of their written records and the sudden cessation of their artistic and cultural output suggest something more abrupt. Did they suffer a cultural collapse, or was there a sudden event that wiped out their society? Other theories speculate that the Turdetani's disappearance could have resulted from internal conflict or social upheaval. The Roman conquests of Iberia were neither swift nor easy. Many tribes, including the Celtiberians, fought fiercely against Roman rule. Could the Turdetani have faced a similar fate, with internal divisions weakening their society and leaving them vulnerable to Roman military pressure? Evidence of internal conflict in other Iberian tribes during this period suggests that the Turdetani might have also experienced fragmentation, contributing to their eventual disappearance. Another theory, more speculative, links the Turdetani's fall to a natural disaster or environmental change. The Guadalquivir River Valley, though fertile, is prone to flooding, and catastrophic floods have affected the region in the past. Could a massive flood or environmental shift have destroyed their settlements, forcing the population to abandon their land and culture? The suddenness of their disappearance, combined with the lack of written records, leaves room for such theories, though no concrete evidence supports them. Some fringe theories suggest the Turdetani were victims of a far older and more advanced civilization, one whose knowledge and influence have been lost to time. The association of the Turdetani with the legendary Tartessos fuels these ideas, as some believe that the Turdetani were the last heirs of this ancient, advanced society. Could their disappearance be the final chapter in a much larger story, lost to history after they faded from the records? The true cause of the Turdetani's disappearance remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of ancient history. Their culture, rich in art and history, faded almost without a trace. Was it the rise of Roman power, internal collapse, or a catastrophic event that led to their vanishing? The absence of clear evidence leaves us with more questions than answers. The archaeological sites in the Guadalquivir River Valley stand as silent witnesses to the mystery of their lost civilization. Could further discoveries in the region reveal the secrets of the Turdetani? What still lies beneath the layers of history, waiting to shed light on this forgotten people? The enigma endures, leaving us to ponder the lost legacy of the Turdetani. In the rugged Andean mountains of modern-day Peru, where jagged peaks meet highland plateaus, lies the haunting legacy of the Wari Empire. Once a powerful civilization that stretched across the central Andes, the Wari are often credited with laying the foundations for the Inca Empire centuries later. Their cities, such as the site of Huchuy-Cusco, were marked by impressive stone architecture, vast agricultural terraces, and elaborate road systems, signaling the empire's power and sophistication. Yet, despite these accomplishments, the Wari Empire abruptly collapsed, leaving behind a mystery. What caused the fall of this once thriving civilization? At its peak, from the 7th to the 11th centuries AD, the Wari Empire controlled a vast region from the southern coast of Peru to the Andean highland valleys. They built massive urban centers strategically placed along key trade routes and employed a highly organized bureaucracy to govern their territory. Wari art and culture flourished, and their architectural prowess can still be seen in cities like Huaracoto and Vilcashuaman. The Wari were master engineers, building irrigation systems that transformed the arid landscape into fertile farmland, allowing their cities to thrive. Yet, around the 11th century, the Wari Empire began to decline, and by the 12th century, it had collapsed. What led to such a dramatic fall? The most widely accepted explanation for the collapse of the Wari Empire involves environmental and ecological factors. The Wari, like many ancient civilizations, were highly dependent on their environment. Changes in climate may have had a devastating impact. Some theories suggest prolonged droughts or a series of natural disasters, such as floods or earthquakes, disrupted the Wari's agricultural systems. Evidence of abandoned agricultural terraces and deteriorated infrastructure points to the difficulty in maintaining food production, which could have led to famine, social unrest, and ultimately, the empire's collapse. However, while environmental stress offers a plausible explanation, it doesn't account for the suddenness of the empire's fall. Unlike other civilizations that experienced gradual decline, the Wari's downfall seems to have been rapid. Some archaeological sites show signs of violent destruction, including fire damage and scattered debris. Was the collapse caused by more than just natural disasters? Could internal conflict have played a role? Another theory suggests political fragmentation and internal strife were key factors in the Wari's fall. The Wari Empire was highly centralized, with a powerful elite overseeing vast territories. As the empire expanded, maintaining control over such a large region became difficult, particularly as local leaders began asserting more power. Internal rebellions, power struggles, and a weakening central authority could have contributed to the empire's downfall. This theory posits that the collapse of the Wari was more about internal disintegration than external invasion. A more speculative theory, though not widely accepted, suggests that the Wari's downfall might have been caused by a religious or cultural transformation. The Wari were known for their complex religious practices, with a pantheon of gods integral to their society. Could the Wari have experienced a profound shift in religious beliefs or leadership that led them to abandon their traditional ways? If so, it might explain why they left their cities in favor of rural or isolated living. Though intriguing, this idea remains speculative, as there is little evidence of such a shift in religious practices. Fringe theories propose that the Wari's collapse could be tied to an unknown cause, such as an extraterrestrial event or mystical force. These ideas, unsupported by mainstream archaeology, persist in popular culture. Some suggest that the Wari might have faced a supernatural force leading to their sudden decline. Could there be something beyond our understanding at play? Could forgotten oral traditions or unexplored areas of the Andes hold the answers? Despite decades of research and excavation, the true cause of the Wari Empire's collapse remains elusive. The sudden disappearance of one of the Andes' most sophisticated civilizations, with no clear explanation, continues to captivate historians and archaeologists. Was the fall of the Wari simply due to environmental changes, or were deeper, more complex forces at work? Could the collapse have been caused by social, political, or cultural shifts, or is there an entirely different explanation waiting to be uncovered? As excavations continue in the highlands of Peru, new discoveries may one day shed light on the lost world of the Wari. For now, the mystery remains unsolved, waiting for a breakthrough that may never come. What might still lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to reveal the final secrets of the Wari Empire. Only time will tell. High in the Andean Plateau, in the rugged heart of Bolivia, lies the ancient site of Tiwanaku, or Tiwanaku, a place that has long intrigued archaeologists and historians. Known for its towering monoliths, massive stone gateways, and the enigmatic Pumapunku complex, Tiwanaku was once one of the most advanced civilizations in pre-Columbian South America. The site, with its vast plazas and precisely cut stones, speaks to a civilization capable of engineering marvels. Yet, while Tiwanaku is widely recognized, there is a deeper mystery surrounding the civilization that preceded it, the Pre-Tiwanaku culture. Who were the ancestors of Tiwanaku, and what happened to them? The ruins of Tiwanaku stand over 12,000 feet above sea level, a place where the air is thin and the landscape is shaped by nature. The most famous monument at Tiwanaku, the Gate of the Sun, features intricate carvings that hint at the city's once advanced understanding of astronomy and cosmology. Other artifacts, such as the Ponce monolith, showcase high craftsmanship in sculpture and stonework. Yet, despite Tiwanaku's grandeur, there remains a deeper mystery. What happened to the people who built these structures, and what culture came before them? The Pre-Tiwanaku culture, believed to have flourished as early as 1500 BC, is a shadowy predecessor that has been difficult to trace in detail. Archaeological evidence suggests this culture laid the groundwork for Tiwanaku, but its true identity and origins remain largely unknown. Unlike Tiwanaku, which left behind monumental structures and clear traces of advanced civilization, the Pre-Tiwanaku culture has left fewer physical clues. What is clear is that they built sophisticated agricultural systems and had an advanced understanding of irrigation. They cultivated crops like potatoes and quinoa, which remain staples in the Andes today. The people of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture are believed to have established the first major settlements in the region, laying the foundations for Tiwanaku itself. They constructed terraced fields, canals, and systems that allowed them to thrive in the harsh Andean environment. Evidence of these early agricultural practices can still be seen in the surrounding region, where terraces continue to support farming. Despite their achievements, the Pre-Tiwanaku culture seems to have disappeared without a clear explanation, taking much of the early history of Tiwanaku with it. Why did this civilization fade? The transition from the Pre-Tiwanaku culture to Tiwanaku is not well understood, and the archaeological record offers few definitive answers. Did the Pre-Tiwanaku people simply evolve into the more complex society of Tiwanaku, or did they disappear due to some environmental or social upheaval? Mainstream explanations suggest the transition from Pre-Tiwanaku to Tiwanaku was gradual, with the latter civilization emerging from the same cultural roots. Over centuries, Tiwanaku grew from a small agricultural settlement into a thriving urban center, but the exact process remains unclear. Archaeological sites like the semi-subterranean temple, with its rows of large stone heads, point to a culture that revered powerful deities and built monumental structures. Yet no clear link has been found between these early cultures and the more developed Tiwanaku. Another widely accepted theory is that environmental factors, such as a changing climate, played a role in the disappearance of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture. The Andes are subject to dramatic climate shifts, and a sudden drought or freeze could have decimated crops, forcing people to abandon their settlements. Evidence of climate changes around the time of the transition suggests that environmental shifts may have played a significant role in the culture's decline. However, while environmental factors may explain the decline of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture, they don't fully account for the suddenness of their disappearance. Unlike other ancient cultures that slowly faded, the Pre-Tiwanaku culture seems to have vanished almost overnight. What caused this rapid loss of a thriving agricultural and social system? Some speculate the collapse was due to internal conflict. As the empire expanded, local leaders and military commanders may have begun asserting their power, leading to fragmentation. Internal rebellions, power struggles, and a weakening central authority could have contributed to the empire's downfall. This theory suggests that the collapse of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture was more about internal disintegration than external invasion. A more speculative theory suggests that the Pre-Tiwanaku culture's collapse was caused by a religious or cultural transformation. The Wari were known for their complex religious practices, and a shift in beliefs could have led to the abandonment of their cities. Were the Pre-Tiwanaku people swept up in a religious movement, abandoning their urban centers for more rural living? Some fringe theories propose that the collapse of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture could be linked to an unknown event, such as a volcanic eruption or earthquake that devastated their land. The Andes are known for seismic activity, and such an event could have forced a mass migration or abandonment of settlements. Despite decades of research, the true cause of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture's collapse remains elusive. The sudden disappearance of one of the Andes' most sophisticated civilizations continues to captivate historians and archaeologists. Was it environmental change, internal conflict, or an unknown event? As excavations continue in the highlands of Peru, new discoveries may one day shed light on the lost world of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture. For now, the mystery remains unsolved, waiting for the breakthrough that may never come. The answers may still lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to reveal the final secrets of the Pre-Tiwanaku culture. Only time will tell.